4 in a row. And overall this season, after the 1-2 start, they've won 3 straight, trying to remain unbeaten at the top of the Big 12. Oklahoma won the toss, elected to receive. Michael Jones goes back with D.D. Westbrook. Off we go from Lubbock. And Westbrook to take a touchback. Oklahoma to begin at the 25-yard line. This run-heavy spread offense, top 20 in the country, scoring 40 points per game. Led by Baker Mayfield. They ran for 405 yards against Texas Tech last year. They had Perine and they had Mixon. And no Perine today. It'll just be Joe Mixon. He's out there to begin the game with Mayfield. And facing a Texas Tech defense allowing 40 points per game. That's 5th most in the country. Straight downhill they go with Mixon, who's hit in the backfield by Fehoko and driven down to the ground by Zach Barnes. It's a loss of a yard, 2nd down, 11.
And this is exactly what the Texas Tech defense needs from Fehoko, Pimpkins. They need help up front. Those guys are going to have to be the anchors of the defense and stop this Oklahoma running game.
Gave up 7 yards per carry in the loss against West Virginia last week. Mayfield's first throw goes outside to A.D. Miller. Brought down by Justice Nelson and a gain of 7. And on Oklahoma's first drive, it's 3rd and 4.
And the biggest question is whether or not Texas Tech's defense is going to pressure Baker Mayfield. They've struggled all year long getting off the field on 3rd down, but they've got to try something different. Defensive coordinator David Gibbs has to try to find a way of putting more pressure on Baker Mayfield and maybe forcing a turnover.
On 3rd and 4, they rush only 4. So Mayfield has time to go underneath, and it's D.D. Westbrook making a cut for a 1st down. Coming off the best 3-game streak for a receiver in Oklahoma history. More than 500 yards and 8 touchdowns as you give us what we're watching for.
Yeah, but it starts with the running game, and really Joe Mixon is going to be shouldering the load tonight. Samaje Perine out. Everything's built off the play-action pass, and that's what helps open up D.D. Westbrook downfield.
For his first catch of the day to convert a 3rd down. And from the 44, they fake to Mixon. Mayfield throws on the move, incomplete. Paul Banks Jr. with the coverage on A.D. Miller.
Baker Mayfield, we talked about his progression in the 2nd year in Lincoln Riley's system. Been so much more patient, staying in the pocket. They haven't taken as many negative plays. At this point last year, he had been sacked 20 times. This year, only 11. So he's improved, and that's helped not having as many negative plays and then moving the chains down the field.
Offense coming off a great game against Kansas State. Put up 38 on a team that had been really good defensively. On 2nd and 10, Mayfield with a deep drop. Eyes downfield. There's Mixon. He will take it. Touchdown, Oklahoma from 56 yards.
Well, we talked about this in the open. This is what makes Joe Mixon so special, is his versatility, his ability to be able to get out of the backfield, and he's basically going to beat right here. Jashawn Johnson in one-on-one coverage. Baker Mayfield again. He's patient enough in the pocket to allow Mixon time to get open downfield.
And so it takes him just 1:37 to find the end zone. Seibert's extra point is no good. Joe Mixon on the long throw from Baker Mayfield, and the Sooners off to a great start. Texas Tech's offense takes it when you come back.
The Honda Take Home a CRV sales event is here.
Plum and a bunch of the coaches on his staff are alum. They take a lot of pride. It's not just about getting a paycheck. They take pride in how this team performs.
Here's Reggie Davis, who can really fly, bringing it back from the 3. And he's hemmed in by Jordan Parker with a flag down around the 40-yard line. Sometimes it gets confusing because they throw tortillas onto the field on the opening kick, but it is a flag. I've been fooled before here, not again. That referee today is Cooper Castleberry and this Big 12 crew.
Illegal equipment by the kicking team. There were 2 players wearing number 18. It's a 5-yard penalty and it's first down.
So Curtis Bolton and Dahu Green were both on that special teams unit, and that is a flag. So what are we watching for when Texas Tech has it, Brady? Number 5 in the country, scoring close to 50 per game.
That man right there, Jonathan Giles, leads the Pac-12, and really Texas Tech was looking for someone to step up after Jakeem Grant went off to the NFL, and the guy who's really going to be responsible for trying to break up some of those pass plays, putting pressure on Mahomes, is Obo Arankwo. Leads the Big 12 in sacks right now. He's been fantastic.
Patrick Mahomes, the nation's leading passer, to throw on first down. Plenty of time against only a 3-man rush. And a man comes open late. That's Cameron Batson for a gain of 8. Now Mahomes, in his 3rd season with time as a starter, sprained his shoulder a few weeks ago and his missed practice time. Cliff Kingsbury thought that caught up to him last week.
Yeah, there are some things earlier in this season they wanted to work on, playing more from the pocket and sticking with the system, and kind of got away from that last week. He practiced more this week, and so far it seems like he's trying to stick with his reads and progressions, not just run outside the pocket when he can.
Flips it outside to DeLeon Ward, the true freshman, making his first career start, lowering the shoulder to the 49 on a gain of 14.
DeLeon Ward, the true freshman from Skyline High School there in Dallas. They talked about his 4.4 speed and really looking for a spark in that backfield. They've had no running game, and it's not just on the running backs or the personnel, it's also on the offensive line. They've had a bunch of moving parts. Justin Murphy was ejected last week. He's going to be out for the first half of this week's game.
It was a targeting call last week in the second half of that game against West Virginia. Mahomes in the quick game underneath. There's Giles who coughs it up. And Oklahoma's got it. That's been one of the things that this team's been good at. Only the 2nd fumble this year for Texas Tech, and Jordan Evans recovers for the Sooners.
Yeah, I think it was Emmanuel Beal who was able to knock this out. You can see he puts his helmet right on the forearm of the ball carrier. And I can tell you, as a former player, that hurts. Your immediate reaction is not to clinch onto the ball. It's actually to give it up. So a good play by Beal. That's exactly how they teach you to try to get the ball out when tackling. Again, this defense for Oklahoma, they haven't been as good as they were a year ago, but obviously a good start. Pretty opportunistic team, because when they get turnovers, their offense takes care of the rest.
That is only the 6th takeaway this year for Oklahoma's defense. Came into the game in the bottom 10 nationally at generating them. They get one on the first drive. Baker Mayfield comes back out. They just got that play off. Quickly in the hands of Mixon. A 56-yard touchdown on the first drive, and a first down on the first play of this one.
Yeah, you can see what the game plan is right now. Obviously, they're featuring Joe Mixon. The other 2 people we've talked about, Dede Westbrook, and then it's Mark Andrews. But that's in the red zone of 3rd down. They're going to target number 81. He's about the size of a tight end, even though they've listed him really a wide receiver.
Mixon again. This time he's hemmed in, gets 2, and it's 2nd and 8. Colin Hill there with Keyshawn Allen. The helmet came off Eric Wren, the center, and unless that was the product of a penalty, he should have to come out of the game. There he goes. So that's interesting to note for this play, a new center.
What I'd imagine to be Alex Dalton, number 63, no?
Jonathan Alvarez.
And he's got experience.
Yep. Perfect snap. Mayfield sets. He can run long. It's Westbrook again. Touchdown, Oklahoma. 49 yards. His 9th touchdown in the last 13 quarters.
And there's not a whole lot to this. This is just one-on-one, man-to-man coverage right here. This is the matchup. And Dede Westbrook just beats Polite Bray in a foot race. Baker Mayfield does a good job putting enough air on the football to allow Dede Westbrook to run to it. And that's about as easy as it gets.
Some kind of stretch for number 11. In the end zone again. This time Seibert nails it. First drive lasted less than 2 minutes. This drive lasts less than 1. A 49-yard touchdown to Dede Westbrook.
The new Pixel phone.
Fox College Football presented by Verizon. Join a better network because better matters. Joe Davis, Brady Quinn, Bruce Feldman back here in Lubbock. Baker Mayfield making the return to where he began his college career, and it's been an impressive one so far. 5 of 6 for 136 and a pair of touchdowns. Oklahoma trying to get its 4th consecutive win. Trying to get its 11th consecutive conference win, dating back to the Texas loss last year. Seibert to send it away. Reggie Davis bringing it out of the end zone with a hesitation to the 2. And it cost him. Poor field position for Texas Tech as we go down to Bruce.
Hey, Joe, as you guys said earlier, Cliff Kingsbury is so embarrassed by what his team looked like last week. He's determined to shake up everything. Change the practice schedules, change the lifting schedules. David Gibbs, the defensive coordinator, said a big thing for them. They started out and ran 20 running plays at the start of every practice, everything to stoke up the physicality from his team.
Yeah, that's one of the tough things for your defense sometimes when you're having one of these up-tempo, air raid offenses. You don't get to see the running plays much throughout training camp when you're working against your ones-on-ones.
Ran for only 34 yards last week on 23 carries. They boot Mahomes. Throws on the move to the sticks. And shot for holding over there on that sideline. Unable to hook up with Davis. 2nd and 10.
And really, Reggie Davis, number 2, and number 6, Devin Lauderdale, those are the speedsters for Texas Tech on the outside. And they're going to have to do exactly what D.D. Westbrook just did for Oklahoma on their offensive series. Take the top off of this Oklahoma defense and help open some things up.
And Oklahoma's defense was the best in the conference last year. That's not been the case this year, especially bad against the pass. Mahomes gets rid of it just in time. Was hit by Emmanuel Beal, who's already forced a fumble, and it's 3rd and 10.
And this is not where you want to be. And look, again, this offensive line has struggled as we see Beal basically come on a delayed blitz. He walks right past Paul Stewars. He's starting today at left guard. Started the last 2 games at right guard. Not easy going side to side on the offensive line.
One of a couple of sophomores up front. You got a freshman. They'll try to protect Mahomes here on 3rd down. Lofting one. Cameron Batson got behind the defense for a 1st down. The pickup of 29, beating Will Johnson to convert 3rd and long.
Batson's one of those guys, just like Jonathan Giles, a former quarterback in high school. And they just seem to have a good feel for the offense and the zone windows and all of that.
And a whistle. They put Kiki Cutesy at tailback. Normally a slot receiver.
By number 78 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still 1st down.
Here's one of the issues with these up-tempo offenses. You know, they try to run a unique formation. You can see Bob Stoops is fired up, yelling there, Will Johnson. But they try to run a unique formation, tried to catch the Oklahoma defense off guard, but the problem is their own players weren't set. And they rushed to run the play, and now you find yourself in 1st and 15.
3rd most penalized team in the country. First time they've been flagged today. 1st and 15. On the slant, it opens up. Tony Brown, only his 4th catch of the season. A guy they had high hopes for, but has gotten off to a slow start. And he goes for 18 and a Texas Tech 1st down.
And one of those guys they really had high hopes for coming in. Big recruits they were able to sign on the outside, and he's going to have to step up. He's one of their bigger wide receivers, so when they get down in the red zone, they might try to take some chances to him.
No Cantrell today, no Willies. Those are the 2 biggest normal receivers for Texas Tech. This time they bring 5. Mahomes over the middle. It's Giles. Coughed it up the first time that he had it. Here he holds on for a gain of 6, and Okoronkwo stops him. 2nd and 4.
And from talking to the Texas Tech staff, they said Jonathan Giles is the guy we trust the most. That's why we put him at our Y position. He's on the inside. If there's pressure, he's the guy that sees it. He runs the right route, and Patrick Mahomes knows that he can get it to him. He's the most sure-handed guy, and he runs the most precise routes. That's why he's always open.
Comes out on 2nd and 4. Oklahoma bringing pressure. They swing it outside to Sadler. Got a block in front. Stiff-armed his way for a first down before he was slammed down by Thomas. Sadler had his best game last week. He'll need him to step up again today, and an injured Sooner. That is Thomas who made the tackle. I'll make that Stephen Parker who's down. We mentioned this Oklahoma defense not being close to as good as it was last year. Part of that has been the injuries they've dealt with across the board on the defensive side.
You can see Cameron Batson. They're pushing Stephen Parker. He goes in, tries to make a swipe at the football, and it looks like he hurts his maybe shoulder as he was trying to make a play to strip that football from Sadler.
Parker's had a good year. Nice stabilizing force in that secondary where they've had a lot of turnover at one of the cornerback spots.
And really the linebacker position. That's been the big turnover that when you talk to defensive coordinator Mike Stoops, he says, I didn't realize it would be that big of an adjustment for me and really for our defense. All the changes that we had at the linebacker position with guys graduating and moving off into the NFL level.
Yeah, they had 4 first-team all Big 12 players depart from last year's defense. Alexander and Stryker at linebacker, Sanchez at corner, Tapper at DN. I think Sanchez has proven to be the toughest one to replace as far as a single spot on that D. On the 24-yard line with a first down. Mahomes fakes the option, wants to throw back and does. Oklahoma reads it well and a flag flies. Mason Reed had the reception, but there's a flag down.
An ineligible receiver downfield, number 2 of the offense. He's lined up and was covered up. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still second down.
Reggie Davis.
And so as a wide receiver, they're trying to, again, once again, a unique formation they were trying to show for the Texas Tech offense. But if you're a wide receiver, there's number 2. And you can see clearly, look at these 2 guys. Right here, Lauderdale's covering up Reggie Davis.
And because the pass was behind the line of scrimmage, and that's what they were arguing for Texas Tech, they've waved the flag off.
Yeah, and that was the thing that I was confused by, was they were basically trying to set up a boot screen, and it looked indeed as if the ball carrier did catch it behind the line of scrimmage. So there never should have been a penalty. I thought maybe it was just one of those flying tortillas.
No, it wasn't. It was a flag, and they picked it up. 8th play of this drive coming. And it's the 8th Mahomes pass play. Got his way out of trouble and left hands it out of bounds. DJ Ward and Okoronkwo applying the pressure, making it 3rd and 2.
Well, Paul Stayworth is having a tough game tonight. They run a twist game. There you can see Obo Okoronkwo. He's the one that really gets Mahomes to get outside the pocket. But look at this. A little nifty. Just getting rid of the football, not trying to take the additional yardage to take a sack. There's Obo.
They're down and 2 for Texas Tech. One of the best 3rd down teams in the country this year. That play clock winding down. They get it off. Mahomes will look to throw. On the out, he's got a first down with the Big 12's leading receiver, Jonathan Giles.
It was just one-on-one, man-to-man coverage on Giles. And he did a good job of being able to use leverage.
Yeah, flag flies again.
The ruling on the field was a catch for a first down. The previous play is under further review.
And so perhaps it wasn't a flag, but the whistle's blowing, stopping that snap, and they're going to take a look at it. It's one of those things in this day and age of college football, as fast as teams move, the replay booth has started to buzz down if they need more time to look.
Yeah, as we take a look at Giles, and it indeed looks like he is able to get both arms underneath the football to secure the catch, and it'll be hard to overturn this. It was ruled a completion, and here's another look. And the thing you're looking for if you're a replay official is whether or not the ball, one, touches the ground, and if the ground assists you in the catch, or if as you go to the ground, if the ball's then moved. If all of a sudden you don't maintain that control or possession of the football as you're trying to complete the action of the catch. But I believe this should 100% be a completion.
The ruling on the field is confirmed.
And again, if this is, 10 years ago in that era of college football, they probably don't buzz down because they have enough time between plays to confirm that.
Yeah, that's probably part of it. I mean, look, some of these offenses have been around for quite some time.
Maybe I should go a little farther back.
I just don't know if we had replay. Yeah, I was going to say.
If there was replay. Live in my hypothetical with me for a minute. First down and 10 from the 12. Texas Tech trying to respond. Oklahoma's quick strike touchdown drives. Another throw, and Reggie Davis steps away from a tackle and takes it inside the 5. Jordan Parker, the true freshman at corner, fanned on him. And they spot him down at the 3.
We talked about that lack of size they have on the outside with Cantrell being out and Willies being out. Well, now you have quicker, fast twitch wide receivers. Get in the ball, let them try to make a move and get upfield.
First run play of the day for Texas Tech, and Jordan Evans, their leading tackler, shuts it down. All kinds of white shirts around him. It'll be 3rd and 2.
Some extracurriculars going on down there. Hostile environment, night game. It's a blackout here. Jones AT&T Stadium.
Things tend to get weird. Night games in Lubbock.
But this is the big question now is how do you go about trying to get into the end zone? We talked about the lack of size on the outside. As we're watching Jonathan Giles come back into the game. He's the guy I'm targeting. And if I'm Oklahoma, I'm trying to put 2 guys on him. I don't know if you can win that matchup in one-on-one coverage on number 9, Jonathan Giles.
Play clock down to 1, and they've got to burn a timeout. Not a bad spot for it. Talk this 3rd and 2 over. Down 13-0. Down and 2 for Texas Tech. They've converted both 3rd downs on this drive. DeLeon Ward straight ahead for a touchdown. It's the first of his career.
We talked about this offensive line for Texas Tech and the moving parts. Watch the right side. You've got Madison Okwuogbonna as well as Balin Brown. Both guys did a tremendous job of helping to open up that hole. I think the Oklahoma defense was caught off guard, probably thinking that maybe they're going to utilize one of their matchups on the outside and throw the football in the end zone.
How about DeLeon Ward, though? Got his first career carries in mop-up duty last week. They liked how he ran. And so they started him tonight, but the plan was to redshirt this kid. They needed him on special teams, so they activated him a few weeks ago. Now he's the star running back. Got a touchdown. 12 plays, 84 yards. It took more than 4 minutes. Uncharacteristic for Texas Tech, a drive lasting that long.
Normally on these kickoff returns, you might see Joe Mixon. Not anymore. Not with Samaje Perine out. It's D.D. Westbrook back in his place.
Yeah, and he will take a knee. So Baker Mayfield already a couple of touchdowns, comes back out. A former Texas Tech walk-on. In 2013, he won the Big 12 Freshman of the Year. Started 8 games, 2,300 yards that season. But then following the year, transferred to Oklahoma, even though he didn't have an offer. Without even contacting the coaching staff, he showed up redshirted. I ran the scout team in 2014. Took over the starting job after winning it in fall camp last year. And finished in the top 5 in Heisman Trophy voting. Here he is in his 2nd season as the starter at Oklahoma. One of the best in the country over the first half of the season. From the 25. In the arms of Joe Mixon. Tackled by Jordan Brooks. True freshman middle linebacker. Combining with Malik Jenkins, 2nd down.
So far tonight, Oklahoma's ran 9 plays. 7 of those 9 have either been touches by Mixon or D.D. Westbrook. That is essentially this Oklahoma offense. Now, they spread the football around too in the passing game, but it's really Mixon, Westbrook, and then they add in Mark Andrews, especially when they get down the red zone.
And obviously Perine too, and he's healthy, but out tonight. Going to be a few weeks out with a pulled muscle. Mixon has a hold this time. Brooks has another tackle. 3rd and 3 for Oklahoma.
typically when Jordan Brooks is making a bunch of tackles, it's the big boys up front. Number 9, Andre Pipkins. Number 4, Braden Fehoko. Those guys are doing their job, holding up the offensive line, not letting him get to the second level, and Jordan Brooks can then make tackles. But now, with third down, does David Gibbs allow one-on-one coverage, especially after D.D. Westbrook beat you for a touchdown before?
It's one-on-one, but it's in the grills of those Oklahoma receivers. Mayfield throwing short. It's Westbrook open, beating Polite Bray once again for a first down.
And once again, D.D. Westbrook too quick off the line. Watch his little outside move on Polite Bray. Look, if you're going to be up at the line of scrimmage, if you're Polite Bray, you got to get up into the wide receiver and make some contact. There's no point in not giving yourself cushion if you're not going to be physical and try to mess up the timing of the route.
No chance to keep up with a guy as quick as Westbrook like that. Play action. Mayfield a deep drop. Under pressure. Able to get away. Scrambling some more. Keeps his eyes downfield and finds Andrews and turns a disaster into a gain of 9. Said he developed that scrambling ability while he was running the scout team a couple of years ago.
Well, and this was what makes Baker Mayfield so special. Nothing downfield. He somehow gets out of the sack and buys time and eventually finds Mark Andrews. He takes what would have been a negative play into a positive. That's why this offense is working so efficient this year. It's Baker Mayfield. He understands when to make plays like this and when to just give up on a play, throw the football away. So we take a look at Mark Andrews getting banged up at the end of that play.
2nd and 1. Mixon. First down. Career high 19 carries last week. With Pirine going out of that game early. You get another look at Andrews. There's their second leading receiver. And it's not even close as far as the distribution. You were talking about how it's been mostly Westbrook and then Mixon and Pirine. But Pirine not in there this week. Andrews second on the team, and he's only got 17 catches. Mayfield to throw deep again. A.D. Miller goes up and gets it. But then it's jarred out at the last moment by Paul Banks.
A.D. Miller is a guy who stepped up at times for them so far this year. Look, credit Paul Banks. He never gave up on the play. He keeps a hand around the shoulder pad, is able to disrupt Miller for making the completion of the catch. Tech very fortunate that Miller wasn't able to bring this in.
Almost another long touchdown. Already touchdown throws of 56 and 49. Mixon making cuts into the arms of Jenkins. He got 7 or 8 to make it a 3rd and short.
That's the toughest thing about Joe Mixon. His ability to run through tackles. You know, he's listed at 225 pounds. We were down talking to the coaching staff on the field, and I looked and said, Joe Mixon looks a lot bigger. He goes, yeah, he's listed at 225. He's probably more 250.
250.
Guy's a load to try to bring down, and he's so athletic.
Right, moves like he's 200.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Texas Tech has been unable to get off of the field on 3rd down so far. Mixon pressured in the backfield and dropped this time. Penetration coming from Jenkins. He lost 2, and it's 4th and 5.
Well, we talked about the big boys up front. Pipkins, Fehoko, the defensive tackles. Look at the wall this defense creates. They don't allow to get pushed around, and there's Malik Jenkins. He's there to bottle up Joe Mixon and get the stop and force the Oklahoma team to punt. David Gibbs has to be ecstatic about this.
Thought about it for a while, Bob Stoops did, but then brought the punt team out. Cameron Batson waits back on this Seibert boot. It's a short one. And a fair catch at the 15. Wanted a flag for kick-catch interference, but won't get it. Time for a game break now. We say hi to Mike Pomerantz.
Joe Brady in Dallas. It's number 11 Houston at SMU. Houston coming in at 6-1, trying to keep the playoff hopes alive, but it's been all SMU. Before the half, Ben Hicks, 28 yards. James Prochet. Hicks with 4 TDs in the half, 3 by air, 1 by land. 28-7 SMU at the half.
Wow, that's a Houston team that beat Oklahoma week 1. Oklahoma came into this season number 3 in the AP poll, but started 1-2. They've ripped off 3 in a row since. Taking on Texas Tech here. That one sailed over the head of Jonathan Giles as Mahomes got hit letting it go.
Now, these are some of the hits that Patrick Mahomes has taken this year. He's trying to manipulate the defense, and you can see number 1, Capri Doucette. So Mahomes felt like that was a little bit late. The struggles on the offensive line, and guys not really being able to get open downfield. He's had to take some of those hits this year.
From the 15 on second down, here's Devin Lauderdale, who can really fly. Gain of 16 to the 31 for a guy that's got more than 100 catches in his Texas Tech career.
And this is really just an extension of the run game. It's this quick, short passing game where Texas Tech is able to make moves in space and get upfield for the first down.
So Mark Andrews heading to the locker room. First down from the 32. Mahomes finds another open man. This time it's Sample. His second grab, and it goes for 15. Texas Tech has things cooking.
Down 13-0, but this team's never out of it because of their offense and because of these wide receivers and Patrick Mahomes.
Or do they move quickly? Fake the screen, and now we'll throw it. I think more than faking it, it was taken away. So Mahomes sailed it over QT's head.
He's lucky.
Yeah.
Big number 31, Obo Okoronkwo, breathing down his neck. And that's a guy that this Texas Tech team is definitely concerned with as far as the offensive line, where he's lined up and protecting him, getting the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hand quick so he's not able to make plays in the backfield.
Mentioned it earlier, leading the Big 12 in sacks. Mahomes boots, pursued by Doucette. Lofting run downfield, out in front of Brown, and it's third down. Beating Jordan Thomas, had a step.
And you cannot miss these opportunities. Brown's going to run a deep post route. He was able to turn the hips of Jordan Thomas. That's why he was able to get so wide open. Unfortunately, Mahomes didn't put quite enough air on it. And Brown, just not enough length to be able to pull that in.
Red Raiders have converted all 3 third downs so far. On 3rd and 10. Mahomes over the middle. It's a first down to Giles with a block from QT. Turns the corner to the 20. 32 yards, and Mahomes and the Red Raiders stay perfect on third down.
Well, this is what makes Jonathan Giles so special. Watch him come right in this window. He's got such a good feel for where the holes are in a defense, and that's because it goes back to his days playing quarterback. He's seen it from Mahomes' vantage point, so he knows what exactly Patrick wants out of his routes and where he should be at the right time.
That's so much success here at Texas Tech, converting guys, quarterbacks, to that Y position. Mahomes dumps it off. Here's Lauderdale. Slipped out of a tackle and got 9. 2nd and 1. Jordan Evans the tackle.
And those plays work because the wide receivers on the outside do such a good job blocking for one another.
There's a flag on the opposite side of the field. I think it's Kiki QT throwing another good block. He's already had a few today.
An illegal formation. There were more than 4 in the backfield. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still first down.
These are the sorts of things that obviously stall out drives, and you mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, Joe. Texas Tech has been one of the most penalized teams, and they're going up against an Oklahoma team that's actually been extremely disciplined. They're one of the least penalized in the Big 12. So huge contrast, and look, this is the 16th team in the country. You can't afford to make these sorts of mistakes.
So instead of 2nd down and 1, it's 1st and 15. Mahomes pumps, scans, dumps. Reggie Davis gets back to penalty yard. 2nd down.
As the Texas Tech offense gets down into the red zone, the biggest key for them is going to be coming away with touchdowns, not field goals. On the other side of the field, the Oklahoma offense is prolific. And the way the Texas Tech defense has played this year, they can't afford to not come away with touchdowns and be able to get 6 points.
Play action. Mahomes throwing outside. Diving attempt by Mason Reed, who got his first career reception earlier today. Couldn't pull this one in. Third down.
I think he had, what, a special teams tackle besides that? That's it. That's been all he's had in his career. But, I mean, look, after what happened last week versus West Virginia, you're probably hearing the crowd react. They believe it's a catch, at least from the replay view we had on the Jumbotron. But they're looking for guys to step up and guys to give them answers.
Third down and 9. Converted all 4 third downs today. Oklahoma brings only 4, so Mahomes with time to zip one incomplete behind Reggie Davis. And it's 4th down.
Well, Ahmad Thomas was in the middle of the field. He was bearing down on Reggie Davis. I think Mahomes might have felt it a little bit and put this ball behind. Still a catchable ball. If you're Reggie Davis, you've got to find a way of bringing that in.
Yeah.
Just outside the framework of his body, but he can still get 2 hands on that. And really, Mahomes in that case is probably protecting him from running right into Ahmad Thomas and facing a big hit.
And so Clayton Hatfield, who is perfect in his career from inside of 40 yards. And he hooks it in to stay that way. 15 of 15 from inside 40. Oklahoma scored the first 13. 10 in a row for Texas Tech back in 30 seconds.
But I think he was escorted out of a restaurant. Something like that happened. He had to be escorted leaving the stadium.
Yep.
So, a hostile environment.
Yeah, an Oklahoma State trooper escorted him out in 2014 when he was here as a walk-on. A Oklahoma walk-on, that is. Big hole for Mixon off the right side. And an open field tackle made by DJ Polite-Bray. Well, Mixon could have been off and running. 2nd and 2. Empty it out on 2nd down. And they flip it underneath to Mixon, who's swallowed up by Zach Barnes. Interesting looking play design there. Bringing him back into the teeth of the defense.
Well, you said it. They go to an empty set. And how do they do it? They actually put Mixon on the outside. They motion D.D. Westbrook outside as well. So you're thinking, all right, they want to get the ball to the perimeter. Instead, they flip a little shovel pass almost back inside to Mixon. That plays right into the teeth of the Texas Tech defense. They've had all their success getting to the outside. That just made no sense.
Sooners don't have to snap it here, but they will. And on 3rd and 2, Mayfield scanning, feeling the pressure. Scramble drills on for Baker Mayfield, thrown to the sticks. It's incomplete. Deshaun Johnson nailing Geno Lewis out of bounds. And the first quarter comes to a close with Texas Tech making it 4th down. Oklahoma got off to a rousing the first and second quarter to review that last play and have determined that the call stands, that this is not a catch.
Yeah, and right there you can see it looks like his foot was about ready to come down in bounds, but then it just kind of drifts out. Deshaun Johnson does a good job of pushing Lewis out of bounds.
And so we begin the second quarter with a Seibert punt. Cameron Batson drifting back to his own 14. Batson given some room with a block in the back. Everybody saw that. And Texas Tech will be backed into its own end to begin the second quarter. Two penalties in the first quarter. They're going to have a third here. Had 10 of them against West Virginia last week for more than 100 yards as part of that embarrassing performance in Kingsbury's
An illegal
words.
block in the back by number 26 of the receiving team. It's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, and it's 1st down.
And really both offenses right now have been kind of dominating. Without Texas Tech turning over the football before, the way they're playing right now, they might have ended up driving down the field and getting more points. But I mean, look at that. Each team total yards almost at 200 yards after one quarter. That's what we expected coming into this game.
Both teams averaging better than 40 points per game. Texas Tech 5th in the country at 49 per. Obo Okoronkwo stopping DeLeon Ward to begin this Texas Tech drive. Okoronkwo has been part of that rotation for a few years on the defensive side, but his first year as a starter has been a good one. Fake underneath and throw incomplete behind QT. And in a hurry, 3rd and 9.
We've seen it earlier in this game. Number 9, Jonathan Giles. That's the guy to keep your eye on. Let's see if he's able to work the middle of the field and find a hole in that secondary for Oklahoma. I would imagine Mike Stoops is going to try to find some way of doubling him with one of these 2 defenders.
Oklahoma has 9 men standing. They only bring 4. Mahomes floating one, dangerously incomplete. Stephen Parker had it gift wrapped and couldn't hang on. 4th down.
Well, when Jonathan Giles is beating you this much, look at the double coverage here. That's what they call bracket coverage. They're both going to be responsible for Jonathan Giles. One's going to have the inside leverage, one's going to have outside leverage, or in this case, it was Stephen Parker playing underneath, which allowed him to undercut that route and almost get the interception.
You know, this Oklahoma defense had 20 interceptions last year. They only have 2 through half of the season this year. Westbrook waits back. Not a very good punt. And an even worse result with a bounce. As a student coach under Mike Leach before he took over as the receivers coach and then moved into the coordinator role last year at Oklahoma.
What a bright future he has in the coaching business. He's going to be a head coach very soon someday.
This drive begins at the 41 after a short punt. They start with play action. What a snag by D.D. Westbrook. Bouncing to the outside. Westbrook is inside the 5, and it's 1st down and goal for Oklahoma. But there is a flag down way back at the 38.
And an eligible player downfield, number 78 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still 1st down.
And that's the big right tackle, Bobby Evans. I believe it was number 71 that was called. Well, let's show it. Here's the right tackle. And this is what happens. They have these things called run-pass options. And no, it was number 78. Big Orlando Brown. And what happens is they've got run blocking called up front, so the linemen don't know if the ball's released or not. They're working up to block their normal run blocking schemes, and that's what happens is they're not allowed to be more than 3 yards downfield. Officials did a good job of catching it.
The penalty cost them 43 yards from where they would have been. So 1st and 15 from the 46. Mixon into the short side with a seam, and Joe Mixon, a 1st down and more. Exploding, reaching, in for the Oklahoma touchdown. A 46-yarder, his 2nd of the day.
Joe Mixon had 156 yards a year ago versus Texas Tech. And look at this hole that's created by the Oklahoma offensive line. That's really been the key for this team. They've been winning on both sides of the ball up front, their D-line and their O-line. That's been the difference after the first 3 games where they started off 1-2. Once they've gotten to the Big 12, they've been winning the battle up front and creating big holes just like that for Perine and for Mixon.
He had a 56-yard touchdown catch to start the game. Now he's got a 46-yard touchdown run behind that offensive line. Lincoln Riley's got to love it. Texas Tech once again down 2 scores. Lead. She's still having a good time though. Austin Seibert on to kick it off. Reggie Davis waiting back.
Kicking off to the Sooners, number 43, Austin Seibert. And leading receiver for the Red Raiders, number 2, Reginald Davis.
And a line drive kick bounces into the end zone. Game break time. Here's Mike Pomerantz.
Joe Brady, baseball in Chicago, Game 6 NLCS. Dodgers Cubs already up 2-0. Bottom of the second inning. Dexter Fowler, the RBI single to left. Caught in a rundown, though. That would end the inning, but the run does score. Cubs wanted to get to Clayton Kershaw early, and they have. They lead 3-zip. Bottom of the third. Joe and Brady a win tonight. Chicago goes to the World Series to face Cleveland.
What is Wrigleyville like right now?
Oh,
And
probably.
what will it be like?
Hoping Steve Bartman isn't making his way to the stadium.
Yeah, last time they were up 3-2. That's what happened. First down and 10 from the 25-yard line. After the first 3 and out of the day, Texas Tech goes back to work. Mahomes finding Davis, incomplete. Our producer, Jeff Gowan, was the producer of the Bartman game back in 03.
Oh, yeah. He made sure to focus in on Steve Bartman. He's never been able to go back to Chicago ever again.
Don't put it on Gow.
But look at this Texas Tech offense, though. I mean, really, when you look at their success on their drives, it's the times when they don't fumble the football, they're not penalized, and they don't get in front of themselves.
Second and 10. Oklahoma has not brought a ton of heat. The question here is, did Okoronkwo draw Steele off?
A false start by number 78 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still second down.
Well, when Okoronkwo is lining up across from you, I mean, look, you're tense because you understand the speed that he possesses to get off of the edge. He's had 4 sacks in the last 3 weeks to start a Big 12 play in the track stance.
Mahomes completed 14 of his first 20. 5 consecutive incompletions now. Floating one, QT with a flag down. He makes the adjustment and the catch. But what is the flag for in the backfield?
Holding by number 76 of the offense.
Wow.
The penalty is half the distance to the goal, and it's still second down.
Paul Staywars left guard.
And Staywars, again, it's his first start at left guard. He started the previous 2 games at right guard. And just so people understand at home, it's incredibly hard for an offensive lineman to move from one side to the other, or even from guard to tackle. Look at him, he's right here. He struggled tonight so far, but it's tough. Your footwork's different. The way you place your hands are different. You got to flip things in your mind, and it's tough to do in a course of a week.
Cost him 38 yards. He makes it 2nd and a quarter of the field for the Red Raiders. More heat coming off of the edge. Davis has this one and bumped out of bounds, crossing the 20 by Jordan Parker.
His defensive coordinator, Mike Stoops, talked to us a little bit about some of the difficulties, some of the changes he's had on defense this year. And you can see right away there's a lot of soft coverage on the outside. Texas Tech is going to be able to take advantage of that unless these cornerbacks get up in the face of the Texas Tech wide receivers and challenge them.
They're down 12.
I mean, look at the space you have down here.
Again, they rush only 4. Still able to flush him from the pocket. Mahomes retreating. So strong. Stays on his feet. Heaving one downfield for a first down. When he's in trouble, he goes to his roommate, Ian Sadler. First down, Texas Tech.
I mean, what can you say? How can you stop that? He's able to get out of the sack and still keep his eyes downfield to get the conversion.
Quickly back on the ball with a fake. And he rolls, has to be out of breath at this point. Incomplete, 2nd and 10.
And this is that fine line of when to give up on a play or when to stay in the pocket. But really, there was nothing open downfield. Mahomes gets outside. You can see, look at his eyes. They're still downfield. Even with the guy hanging around his hip, he's still looking to keep the play alive. And there is sure-handed Ian Sadler to make the catch.
Fakes a quarterback draw. Now he goes over the middle for Mason Reed. Who is this guy?
That's what I'm still trying to figure out. I haven't seen him on film all year long. But again, this was a week where Cliff Kingsbury was looking for some guys to step up on their team. Guys that would come in, do their job, not have any excuses. And so far, Reed's been one of those guys who stepped up.
You mentioned it. His career stats included his special teams tackle entering this week. Today he's got 2 catches for 28 yards. Mahomes looking to throw again. Pumps underneath. Trying to extend the play. Throwing one out of bounds.
Patrick Mahomes' pass falls incomplete.
More pressure without even bringing any extra men.
Brings up second down.
Well, they're only rushing 3, and really it's the double coverage right here on Giles. Watch as we roll this replay. Excuse me, it's actually up top here. You can see the safety on Mott Thomas working to him. But they're trying to devote 2 defenders to him wherever he goes, regardless of where he lines up.
Still have been able to find Giles 4 catches and 54 yards. That leads the squad. Not sure what the reaction is here.
Well, Texas Tech subs, so Oklahoma then had the opportunity to sub, so the officials wanted to make sure that they held the snap so that Oklahoma had the chance to properly substitute and get the players off the field.
On second down, Mahomes pumping again. No way he gets out of this. Losing 2, and again it's with only a 4 or 5 man rush. Obo Okoronkwo will get credit. Third down.
You can see this Texas Tech offense has gotten a little bit out of rhythm now with some of those quicker passes that they were utilizing to the outside. Now Patrick Mahomes, again, he starts to be a little bit undisciplined, starts to rush outside the pocket. Sometimes he invites some of those problems, and it plays right into the Oklahoma defense.
3rd and 12. Let's see what Oklahoma brings. Not a lot so far today.
Someone besides Giles has to step up.
Only 4 come. Wide open. First down. Devin Lauderdale taking advantage of that soft coverage that Oklahoma's defaulted to all year.
Well, when you're doubling someone, there's someone else who's going to be one-on-one. Patrick Mahomes found that wide receiver. That was Devin Lauderdale outside one-on-one versus Jordan Thomas.
Fake to Ward. Immediately under pressure, having to kill it to the sideline. DJ Ward and Jordan Evans were there as soon as Mahomes turned around. 2nd and 10. Couple of long 3rd down pickups on this drive. One was a 10 on a 1 to 10 difficulty scale. The other one was more like a 2. Fake the screen to Ward. Now Mahomes cuts it upfield and belted down by Jordan Evans. Got 1, 3rd and 9.
It's Texas Tech offense to get down to this area of the field and kind of started to stall out a little bit. Cliff Kingsbury calls screen there. Nothing much. Patrick Mahomes tried to create. It's hard to make these 3rd and 9s in a condensed part of the field. It plays to the advantage of Oklahoma.
A little bit tighter coverage across the board this time. They're bringing pressure on the slam. Reggie Davis sure-handed tackle Jordan Parker, and it's 4th down and 1 for Texas Tech. Cliff Kingsbury saying stay out there. They're going to go on 4th and 1.
This is going to be a quarterback sneak.
And he got it. Boy, the near official did not give him a very good spot, but the far side official looks like has it taken care of. First down, Red Raiders.
And look, they don't get under center, but to do basically one of 3 things. The majority of the time it's a quarterback sneak, or they spike the football. It's also sometimes they'll hand the football off on a dive as we've got an injured player down for Oklahoma. That's Matt Romar. That is a guy that you cannot afford to lose on this defense. He is the anchor up front, and he seems to be in some pain.
Already without a pair of starting defensive linemen. And they lost so much from last year, and they've lost so much as this year's gone on, with the guys trying to replace the all-conference players that departed. And that's where you see the numbers that this defense has struggled to. Redshirt junior from Port Arthur, Texas. Missed most of fall camp. He had an awful concussion.
Right there. And obviously the linemen are firing out for Texas Tech to help Patrick Mahomes get some leverage and some push. And in doing that, Matt Romar gets kind of rolled up on. It's an unfortunate part of the game, but it's how the game's played.
He's getting a little bit thin up front for Oklahoma. Deleon Ward off the left side. Gets 3, 2nd and 7. Silver lining for Oklahoma in this case is that if you could pick any team to face with a depleted defensive line, this is probably it. Number 1 passing offense in the country, but in the bottom 5 as far as running the ball. 2nd and 7. Mahomes pulls, has a block from Reed, has a Texas Tech touchdown.
Well, this is what you're capable of doing in the running game when you've got a quarterback who's athletic like Patrick Mahomes. And watch Mason Reed as he comes across the formation. See number 29? He gets just enough of Ovo, then he climbs up on Jordan Thomas, and that's just enough to allow Patrick Mahomes a lane into the end zone.
Would have been nice to know about that guy, huh? Nobody could have slipped us a little note. Hey, look out for 29. It's not played all year, but it's going to be important today. Couple of catches, and now a key block to get Mahomes in. Another long touchdown drive for Texas Tech. Back to within 3.
It's been 60 years since I came up here to watch football.
Kick buried into the end zone. Time for the Pacific Life game summary. Just about what we expected so far, huh?
Yeah, an offensive display by both teams. We knew coming into it with both quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield for Oklahoma and Patrick Mahomes, that this was going to be a very pass-heavy game for both teams. But with Oklahoma, they've been a bit more balanced. And, credit offensive coordinator Lincoln Riley. He's really tailored this offense. After they lost last year to Texas, he looked in his backfield and said, I got to rely more on Samaje Perine and Joe Mixon running the football and sprinkle in some for Baker Mayfield and build things off of that. That led them to win the Big 12 championship, and it's really continued to have success once they've gotten to the Big 12 play this year.
Drive beginning at the 25 for Baker Mayfield and the Sooners. They look to throw. Wants to go downfield. Instead, checks it down for a first down to Dimitri Flowers, who's been a big part of this offense's success at the fullback position.
He doesn't get Tony Bones thrown his way, but that time he was split outside as a wide receiver, and he wasn't the first option, but Baker Mayfield was confident enough that he would eventually get open, waited on him, and found the completion.
Here comes Mixon, patient running, got around one man. Stiff arms to Deshaun Johnson. This is a man's run by Joe Mixon inside the 40. Reverse field, a stiff arm, and 25 yards.
250 pounds, and look at that vicious stiff arm on Deshaun Johnson. And as he made his way down the field, Paul Banks, the quarterback, he stayed in the back pedal. He really didn't want anything to do with Joe Mixon as he headed his way.
You think of that kind of punishing running, you think Samaje Perine. You don't necessarily associate Mixon with that bruising style. First down from the 38. Fake to Adams, throw the slant. Mark Andrews, first down. You saw Andrews go back to the locker room earlier. Good sign for Oklahoma fans that he's back.
And that's what we call cause and effect. You see the big run, so now that play action pass fake is that much more meaningful, and it opens up wide receivers in the back end.
First carry for Abdul Adams, and Malik Jenkins putting together a good night at his linebacker spot.
The Texas Tech defense, they've had guys show up on the edge to try to bottle up these Oklahoma running backs. The problem is when you go back to the Mixon run, they're just not making the tackles at times in space. That's going to be the biggest key. It sounds simple, but this Texas Tech defense has to do a better job of making tackles in open space.
It's a trick play. Westbrook on the reverse. And D.D. Westbrook sets up first and goal. Not sure where Dimitri Flowers is going. Flowers ran right by a guy that he could have blocked. They still got a first down.
I actually think they were trying to set up a pass because Westbrook started to look back across the field, but no one was really open. I think they're all still fooled by the initial run play. So then Westbrook did the smart thing and just carried on up the field and got the first down.
So that would explain Flowers, who's got a reputation for being a great blocker, just sailing right by DB. Texas Tech has not stopped a soul in the red zone this year. 29 consecutive drives have ended in scores once they've entered the red zone against Tech. Mixon downhill for 3.
And that's one of the toughest things when you're talking about defense nowadays in college football is you're going to give up yards. You talk to any defensive coordinator, they just tell you it's too tough to stop these offenses for picking up yards and big plays. It's the red zone that's the key, forcing them to kick field goals and not get touchdowns, and that's really where Texas Tech has struggled.
Second and goal, fake to Mixon, open is Andrews, and it is broken up by Polite Bray. Couldn't quite get it off in time. Andrews was open initially, but Polite Bray was able to recover, and it's third and goal.
Little play action, fake misdirection, and that's why Mark Andrews gets so wide open. He beat Polite Bray off the ball. Fortunately, though, Polite Bray was able to get a hand back in to disrupt the completion. Baker Mayfield couldn't really get his feet set to put any more zip on that. Otherwise, it probably would have been a touchdown.
So now third and goal. Texas Tech bringing pressure. Mayfield into the end zone. It's incomplete. Tipped by Keenan Ward. And it's fourth down.
Well, he was trying to work to number 11, D.D. Westbrook. David Gibbs, the defensive coordinator, he dialed up some pressure off of this left side edge. And there was Keenan Ward. He follows the eyes of Baker Mayfield, and he was able to get a hand up on the ball. Not his injured hand, something he's been dealing with all season long, but his good hand. And a big stop for the Texas Tech defense.
A pretty dangerous throw. That thing fluttered up there. Here's Seibert. Missed an extra point earlier. And nails this one from 23. Well, look at the sideline to see if Texas Tech considers that a victory.
In the way the defense is moving around and even the offense, these guys are fired up. They understand what's at stake.
Yeah, they thought they laid down against West Virginia in that 48-17 loss last week. Game break time. Hello again, Mike Pomerantz.
Joe and Brady getting ramped up in Wrigleyville right now over on Fox Sports 1. Dodgers-Cubs game 6 NLCS. Bottom of the fourth. 24-year-old Wilson Contreras down the left field line. A solo shot off Clayton Kershaw. It's 4-0 Cubs in the bottom of the fifth inning. The Cubs trying to make history, get to the World Series for the first time since 1945.
For the right to face the Indians, who last won the World Series in 1948. Texas Tech offense back out there at the 25-yard line. Coming off a long touchdown drive. Not a ton of rhythm on that drive, though. See if they can get Mahomes back in rhythm. Trying to find an opening to Davis, and it's over his head. Let's check in with Bruce Feldman.
Joe, Matt Romar, the Sooners defensive lineman who was hurt before, hobbled off the field. He's really struggled to put any weight on his left knee. Samaje Perine came over to check on him. All his teammates have been around him. He's still out here. They put a sleeve over it. We'll see if he's looking like he's a little better now than he did 5 minutes ago, though.
All right, Bruce. Thanks for the update. 2nd and 10. Mahomes and the Red Raiders out of an empty set. Feels the pressure and steps away, but there's a flag down, and this is coming back. QT's going to take it to the house, and about 60,000 hearts are about to be broken.
Holding by number 76 of the offense. It's a 10-yard penalty, and it's still 2nd down.
I mean, that's how the season's gone for Texas Tech. We talked about it. Paul Stawar is clearly having a rough night so far, and only 5 minutes and 56 seconds into the second quarter, but you can see he just grabs the outside shoulder. See the hand on the back of Okoronkwo's back. You can see that that's going to be called for holding right here every single time, and that's in part just because of the speed that Obo possesses. They run these different games up front, and all of a sudden when he gets a running start, it gets tough to be able to get in front of him and stay in front of him when you're a 300-pound offensive lineman going up against a guy who's 250 pounds with that much speed coming off the edge.
So a 75-yard touchdown that likely would have put Texas Tech in front, wiped off of the board. Oklahoma bringing it on time but off target. Looking for Tony Brown. Coverage from Jordan Thomas. And it's 3rd and 20.
And I think it's fair to say, look, Texas Tech is only stopping themselves. It's the mistakes that they make along the course of these drives that put them in 3rd and 20 that are they're too hard to pick up. and they're trying to rely on these big plays. You have to be more efficient. You have to have more of a rhythm.
A four-man rush has him flushed. QT, what a play! Keke QT hangs on, and they convert 3rd and 20 with a gain of 25.
The sophomore out of Lufkin, Texas. He has continued to get better and better and better. You heard Eric Morris, offensive coordinator, talk about him, the progress that he's made, and they just continue to keep feeling like they can rely on him.
And another injured Sooner.
You take another look, and again, one-on-one coverage. He's going to stutter him around the 20-yard line, which helps him get separation and get upfield, but this is just all QT. And would go up and secure the catch. Look at the elevation. QT's only 5'11", but he's got some hops. Looking at Curtis Bolton, who is the injured player for Oklahoma.
And they're not booing him for being hurt. They're booing him because they think that he went down to slow Texas Tech.
But you see that from time to time. Sometimes when offenses get on a roll, they're trying to play fast. Once in a while, a guy happens to get a cramp. I don't know that it's that hot down there tonight on the field.
And all that said, he very well could be hurt.
Yeah.
We never want to accuse
under further review
of that. Simply pointing out what the 60,000 here in Lubbock had on their minds. So
let's
they're going to take a look. Yeah.
QT was working one-on-one versus Khalil Houghton. See if he maintains control of the football as he comes to the ground. I mean, Houghton's arm almost assists him in keeping the football from hitting the ground. This will be a great angle.
That's a catch.
There's no doubt it's a catch. I mean, there's nothing there that would lead you to believe this will be overturned.
Our rules expert Mike Pereira is back in LA taking a look. Mike, what do you see on this one?
Hi, guys. You know, we're seeing the same thing that you do. We're trying to find the ball hitting the ground, but we just don't see it hit the ground. So, you know, because of the fact that they ruled it as a catch on the field, I really don't see anything. Ball moves a little bit, but I just don't see it hit the ground. So I think it's got to stay as a catch.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. Just not enough there to overturn this call. And again, this Texas Tech offense continues to live off of big plays, even after they kind of shoot themselves in the foot. They're now 7 for 10 on 3rd down. And they've been in some 3rd and long situations, and they still, manage to find ways to pick these plays up. Credit Patrick Mahomes and his ability to buy time and keep his eyes downfield and give his wide receivers a chance.
Yeah, there's 7 of 10 you mentioned on 3rd down, and the average has been 3rd and 9. So it's not like they've had just
after further review
runs.
The ruling on the field stands. First down.
Averaging 13 yards per play on those 3rd and 9s.
Yeah, and think about it. We just saw a touchdown get called back for a holding penalty. But they continue to keep the drive alive and convert. They've got to do a better job on 1st down. Picking up something positive and not continuing to keep putting themselves in these 3rd and long situations.
After the QT catch stands, 1st down from the 39. QT coming in motion, taking the fake. He's a decoy for a deep ball. Reggie Davis gets behind the defense, and a flag flies on Will Johnson. It was underthrown, and that's what led to the pass interference. And they'll take that.
Pass interference by number 12 of the defense. It's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic 1st down.
Well, that's the tough thing when you're trying to match up with Texas Tech. It's the speed. That's Will Johnson right there. You see Reggie Davis. He's going to work basically on the inside edge of the numbers, and he had him beat easily. Ball underthrown. But because Will Johnson never really looks back to make a play on the football until the last minute, he interferes with Reggie Davis before the ball arrives, and it's going to be considered pass interference.
So, fresh set of downs in Oklahoma territory. Mahomes, known as really strong arm thrower. You rarely see him leave him short like that. Going deep again. This one over adjusted now in front of Lauderdale.
Yeah, I mean, look, you'd like to give your wide receiver a chance, you know, because now you're sitting here in 2nd and 10, and instead of maybe possibly having a play where Lauderdale could come back to the football and maybe draw a pass interference. So again, that's kind of the catch-22 that you're in as a quarterback, right? You give him a chance that allows the defensive player to maybe come into play and get an interception, but there's obviously a possibility of
that could have been moving the ball, but with kind of a lack of rhythm. Are you sensing them getting it back?
I mean, not after that last play. I mean, again, they were a beneficiary of a pass interference, and they just missed another go ball. So in 2nd and long is tough to be, but in this part of the field, you might be thinking it's 4-down territory anyways.
2nd down and 10. 4 receivers into the wide side. Mahomes rolling that way. Zipping one into a tight window for Keke Coutee. What a night he's having. That's even with the 75-yard touchdown wiped away by a penalty.
Well, they're utilizing the holes in the middle of the field, and they're finding them right in between the linebackers, Emmanuel Beal, number 14, and number 26, Jordan Evans.
Pumped underneath, now floats one, end zone and picked off. Threw it late, and Stephen Parker came over for the pick.
Stephen Parker had his eyes on Patrick Mahomes that entire play. They tried to fake a little screen and then throw vertically to Reggie Davis. See Mahomes going there the whole time, just puts too much air in it. I mean, if you're Patrick Mahomes too, you want Reggie Davis to at least come back and make a play. I don't know that he ever saw Stephen Parker coming across the field.
Now, last season, Mahomes was intercepted 4 times by Oklahoma. A couple of them were off tip balls. One of them was right into the hands of a defensive lineman, but that was a career high last year.
Yeah, he struggled a bit when they didn't bring pressure on the way, when they didn't bring 4-man rushes, because it allowed them to sit at the line of scrimmage and tip balls and make plays on the ball.
Trying to get some breathing room, and they'll get plenty. Joe Mixon breaks across the 30 on a 31-yard gain.
What makes the best running backs so special is when they're patient. You know, the hole wasn't there initially, but Joe Mixon knew when to turn on this speed, accelerate through the hole for the big gain.
Already has 142, nearing a career high here in the first half. Now Abdul Adams has a gaping hole off the left side and cut down by Jashawn Johnson.
The freshman out of Landover, Maryland, he's going to get his fair share of touches tonight. With the Samaje Perine being out, they still want to stay balanced for Oklahoma. Make sure they utilize the play-action pass game, so they're going to run it.
What a swing in momentum in these last few plays. Here's Westbrook with a couple of blocks at 5 yards. Zach Barnes the tackle. Mayfield 10 of 15. 2 touchdown throws. Those came on the first 2 drives of the game. 56-yarder to Mixon, 49-yarder to Westbrook. Now they'll run some clock, not wanting to leave Texas Tech with too much time at the end of this half. On 2nd and 4. Knocked down at the line of scrimmage by Mike Lynn Thomas. First-year JUCO transfer, makes it 3rd and 4, and I know you love that, right? Getting your passes knocked down.
That's the worst thing as a quarterback, and that's the thing, is when you get worn down as a defensive lineman and you can't get there rushing, then you've got to read the eyes of the quarterback and try to get those hands up and knock the pass down. That's part of your duties. It's not just trying to get sacks or tackles for loss and make negative plays. It's also trying to bat down the football when you get an opportunity to. Big question here is, if you're David Gibbs, do you once again bring pressure? It worked last time Oklahoma was down in the red zone.
They're showing it. And only bringing 4. Basquin has it for a first down. A walk-on. Nick Basquin, 13 yards to convert.
He was working on number 3, DJ Polite-Bray. That's the matchup that this Oklahoma offense wants to work on in one-on-one coverage. Adams slipped away from Thomas for a short gain.
So Adams now one of only 2 scholarship players at running back with Pirine out. Travel to walk on and Devin Montgomery, Brady mentioned earlier. Adams giving Mixon a rest here inside of 3 minutes in the first half. Mayfield pressure, spinning, retreating, Ward chasing and forcing the throwaway. 3rd down. There's a man down for Texas Tech. Taylor Nunez was set to see his most significant role of the season today as the injured player.
And look, this is what the Texas Tech defense has to do. Now, David Gibbs has to be diligent. He has to understand when to bring pressure and when not. He can't bring it all the time because they'll get burnt. But right here, this is how they create negative plays and force Oklahoma in 2nd and long and 3rd and long situations. Talk about David Gibbs, and people have talked a lot about the struggles of this Texas Tech defense. But the fact of the matter is, David Gibbs has been successful wherever he's been. You can go back to his time when he was at Minnesota. They were a top 10 ranked scoring defense there in one particular year, never allowing more than 26, 27 points a game. Then at Auburn, top 20 scoring defense again. And the same thing at Houston. You look at the success that Tom Herman's having at Houston right now. It's in large part because of what David Gibbs helped build there as far as recruiting, the guys he brought in, and the things he taught them on the defensive side of the football.
If he could just show a little personality, he could really fly.
Oh, he's the best.
He is. 3rd and 10 for Oklahoma. Mixon back in the game.
All the way to the top of the screen.
The safety and Johnson out there to cover it. Westbrook. Popped. Stayed on his feet somehow to get within a yard of the 1st down. And it's 4th and 1 for the Sooners.
And Baker Mayfield was out there lobbying to get Coach Stoops to go for it, and they will.
Mixon, it's going to be close. Fehoko gobbled him up. It will depend on the spot. A critical moment in the first half of this game.
This is exactly what Cliff Kingsbury was looking for out of Braden Fehoko when he went to Hawaii and recruited him. A big guy who could get penetration in the backfield and help get stops.
It is close, Brady. I'm looking at where they have it spotted. Just about even with those chains.
I mean, from that vantage point, it almost looks like they'll be a little bit short, but it literally might be by a link on that chain.
Crowd will tell you.
Two times now, David Gibbs and this Texas Tech defense has stepped up, and they've responded after a poor performance last week at home versus West Virginia. And it's been the big boys up front. Braden Fehoko, Pipkins. They've continued to anchor this defense. They haven't given up hope. They went back to the drawing board last week, played more physical in practice, and we're seeing it here tonight.
So often you'll see a team take momentum with the defense and then take a shot on the first play. And I think Oklahoma knows that. They have Amon Thomas 20 yards downfield. They are going to take a deep ball in front of QT. And Samaje Perine shoves QT as he goes out of bounds. That was interesting.
You mentioned it. Take a shot, and as QT goes out of bounds right here. I mean, that's just unnecessary, and unfortunately for Texas Tech, the official didn't see it, but it's just disrespectful move.
Inside of 2 minutes in this first half, Oklahoma by 6. Showing pressure on 2nd and 10 and bringing it. On the slant, QT turning into Mahomes' favorite target at the moment. He gets 8, tackled by Will Johnson, 3rd and 2.
Yeah, really, it was Jonathan Giles earlier in the game. The Oklahoma defense has done a good job keying in on him, giving safety help or doubling him at times, but you can't double everybody. And Keke Coutee has now been the guy that's really showed up. That slot wide receiver.
3rd down and 2. The slot to the top. Mahomes under pressure. He can run and does for a Texas Tech 1st down. Still 2 timeouts left for the Red Raiders. Clock stops as the chains move.
Mahomes is tough to stop once he gets going. He's probably bigger than 230.
Yeah. Tucks it again. Makes a move on Evans into the open field and slides down and a gain of 16.
This is just playing football in your backyard right now. And this is really where Patrick Mahomes excels. The 2-minute drive isn't really that much different than what Texas Tech normally does.
Down to a minute. Quickly in the hands of Batson. Cameron Batson twirling his way for 7.
Still got 2 timeouts.
Use one of them here. There's a look what's coming up on the State Farm halftime with Rob Stone, Dave Longstaff, Matt Leinart, and Robert Smith.
Coming up on the State Farm halftime, West Virginia's unbeaten start continued. Would a whiteout in Happy Valley translate to lights out for the 2nd-ranked Buckeyes? And toilet issues in Tuscaloosa, but no Tide problems flushing down the Aggies. Joe Brady, back to you guys.
So Oklahoma right now trying to keep pace with Baylor and with, believe it or not, West Virginia, who put on a show today against the Horned Frogs.
Yeah, and look, people don't need to overreact at this point in time in the season about where teams are ranked. If you go back to the past couple years with this college football playoff, 7 of the 8 teams that made it in the past 2 years were not ranked within the top 4 at this point in time in the season.
Yeah.
Oklahoma was in a very familiar position last year, sitting there around 16, 15, something like that. They still made their way and is the number 4 team.
Out of the timeout, 2nd down 3. Mahomes and Texas Tech have trailed the entire game. Throws underneath, incomplete. Wanted Reggie Davis, who is defended by Jordan Parker. 3rd down.
Tried to work a little slant route to Reggie Davis and saw that earlier on a 3rd down where they got close and they ended up getting the 4th down conversion. These in-breaking routes, they're a little bit easier to complete. Some of those out-breaking routes, they're trying to utilize that versus the Oklahoma secondary.
On 3rd and 3, they rush only 4. Mahomes has QT, who stays on his feet and races inside the 25. QT goes for 21. 1st down, Texas Tech.
So they run the slant and then he comes right back out of it. And that's just great play calling by Cliff Kingsbury and his staff. They set everything up in their offense. They've got double moves and different breaking routes based on what they show you earlier in the game.
Yeah, you were just talking about it, all those inside routes. Oklahoma obviously seeing the same thing and able to prey on that. 43 seconds left, 1st down. Mahomes dropping, throwing towards the end zone. What a snag! Jonathan Giles, there's your signal. Touchdown, Texas Tech.
With his fingertips as Patrick Mahomes works up in the pocket. Doesn't necessarily get it that high, but literally by his fingertips, Jonathan Giles is able to corral this football in for the touchdown. Does he secure possession as he goes to the ground? Yes, he does.
And that took as long to get a signal as I think about any touchdown I've seen. I think they would have been in disbelief that he was able to hold on to it. And now an extra point from Clayton Hatfield. And after trailing the entire 1st half, Texas Tech has taken the lead. did it, and you can see why.
Because they've had so much success in the past doing that before. You talk to Cliff Kingsbury or Eric Morris, and they just say, look, man, as much as we throw the football and as smart as you are, you could fit right into this situation like a Danny Amendola or a Wes Welker, other guys who have played slot in this Texas Tech system before.
Like the coordinator, Eric Morris, so he can even vouch for it. Coming up on the State Farm halftime, Rob, Dave, Matt, Robert take you through all the day's action. Still plenty more to come on this college football Saturday, the back half of October. So 37 seconds. Oklahoma has a pair of timeouts, and just like Texas Tech, they can move it in a hurry.
And always keep in mind, the clock stops in college football after a first down, so you do have plenty of time if you work efficiently once you get that first down and get up to the line of scrimmage and get set.
On the 25-yard line, fake to Mixon. Wants to go deep and has D.D. Westbrook inside the 25. How do you leave that man that open? 55 yards, but he's slow to get up.
And that's, again, this matchup they're working and utilizing. It's number 3, DJ Polite-Bray, one-on-one right here. And Baker Mayfield's going to roll away from this, and he's going to throw back across the field. Well, the ball's a little bit underthrown. It was a long heave.
Of a completed pass is under further review.
Polite-Bray does all he can to try to disrupt Westbrook from maintaining possession of the ball as he goes to the ground. Now, again, I don't think there's anything there that you would think would overturn that being a catch. Let's see if we can pause it right here. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you when you take a look at it, clearly there it's already passed and he secured the football. I mean, but this is, if you're David Gibbs, the defensive coordinator, you've got to be pulling your hair out after having 2 stops in a row versus this Oklahoma offense coming up big. All of a sudden, you let them back in by giving up a big play with 37 seconds left in the half. I mean, these are the type of things that have been killing the Texas Tech defense in the back end.
And if you're Oklahoma, you're looking and seeing that this probably is at the very least will stand, the concern becomes Westbrook limping off of the field. He was not himself in the first few weeks of the season dealing with a hamstring injury. He relies so much on those legs and limped off.
Well, one of the hardest things when you're a wide receiver, you got a hamstring injury, is your ability to start and stop. And when you look at the Oklahoma offense, you've got a few wrinkles in there where there's some double moves where he's got to break down and try to get the defender to bite on the route and then accelerate. And even in and out of cuts, you're using your hamstrings to help decelerate and then accelerate again. So it's hard a lot of times for wide receivers to be able to run those sorts of routes when they're not 100%.
Mike Pereira, you've had a few looks at this replay now. What do you think?
A lot of looks. I've run them back and forth. Jeff Gowen gave us a lot of look, giving replay a lot of look. I just don't think you can overturn it
review,
because they
ruling on the field stands. It's a first down. Please set the game clock.
And that's the key to me is the right hand's on the ball. He has control when he goes to the ground, and then when you look at it coming up here, you'll see that the hand is still under the ball. So nothing you could do but stay with the call on the field here.
All right, Mike, and that is what they do. 27 seconds left in this first half. Oklahoma trying to answer back, trailing for the first time today. Mayfield sets, end zone, Basquin perfectly thrown. Oklahoma strikes back. A 23-yard score for Basquin.
Joe, that was the same exact play. It was just switched. Literally, they ran the same play 2 times in a row, just from different strengths of formation. One's from the right, one's from the left.
They went 75 yards in 20 seconds. Seibert missed his first one today. He's been good since. And Oklahoma, in the blink of an eye, goes back in front.
This is what helps draw so open. Watch the play action fake. He rolls this way, and you see everyone flow, but there's no one in the back end. Everyone steps up on the run fake in support, which again, in this situation, I mean, they got a couple timeouts, but expecting a pass, and Basquin's just able to beat Keyshawn Allen across the field for the easy touchdown.
And Basquin from Norman, Oklahoma, went to North. Turned down some interest from Mountain West schools and WAC schools in order to walk on at Oklahoma, and they basically admitted that that walk-on status probably not going to last for too much longer.
No, and the key about how big of a touchdown this was, it's not just about Oklahoma taking lead, it's the fact that they won the toss and chose to receive, so Texas Tech had the opportunity to get a score to go ahead before half, and then they get the ball coming out of the half, but their defense couldn't get a stop.
Yeah, had all the momentum, Texas Tech did. Oklahoma's taking it right back. Taking the air out of the building for the moment. Trying to move it, 17 seconds in a timeout.
As fast as these offensives move, I mean, you never want to say never, but at this point, they get the ball coming out of the half. I would be concerned about making a mistake with this little time left and where the ball is positioned right now. So why not run out, go into halftime, make sure you've got something good coming back out after half, make those adjustments that you need or that you see going on, both on offense and defense, and give yourself the best chance then.
And that is what they'll do. Turned it over twice in this first half, a fumble and an interception. And so they will be content within 6 going to the break. Oklahoma's won 3 in a row after their 1-2 start, trying to remain unbeaten in Big 12 play. Texas Tech behind Patrick Mahomes, 375 yards, trying to get its first win over a ranked opponent in 3 years.
407 total yards, though. I mean, that is ridiculous in one half. I mean, could you imagine him getting 800 total yards of offense tonight?
Let's go down to Bruce.
Bob, wild last 2 minutes of that first half. What did Baker's minute touchdown drive there do for you guys to get momentum going in?
It gives you a spark coming in, at halftime for sure for the whole team. We just got to do a better job with third downs on defense. We've had our hands on him, can't finish the sack. He scrambles away, and he's picked up his third downs. We got to do a better job covering him.
What more can you do? 375 yards for him. It seems like you guys gotten a lot of pressure. Is it just simply tackling him?
Well, a few times it's tackling him. You get your hands on him. He's a big guy, works away. And then other times we just got to do a better job on third downs with our coverage.
All right, thanks, Bob. Back to you guys.
Yeah, Bruce, that's the key right there. Texas Tech 9 of 12 on third down against Coach Stoops' team. In first half stats, more than 800 yards of offense combined. We've still got a half to play in the 24th meeting between Oklahoma and Texas Tech. And the Red Raiders just started the 25. We go down to Bruce Feldman, who talked to their head coach.
Yeah, Joe, Cliff Kingsbury was actually pretty fired up about his team's performance because the turnovers hurt us, but Pat Mahomes is locked in. I said, what was the other message to your team? He said, just enjoy this. This is why you guys came here.
How about that message?
I mean, and that's the truth, right? Look at Pipkins, a guy who came from Michigan, from the Big Ten. School that's really accustomed to playing some of those big matchups. That's part of the reason why he came to Texas Tech. You get matchups like this, Oklahoma, a night game, a blackout. Who wouldn't be fired up for this sort of atmosphere?
So here we go with the second half. Texas Tech starting from the 25, and wouldn't you know, an empty set. They bring pressure. Mahomes throws low, incomplete. Wanted Giles, the Big 12's leading receiver, led the way in the first half with 5 catches for 77. Mahomes has now thrown it 47 times.
And we mentioned that he's the leading rusher right now for Texas Tech. They just haven't been able to find anyone to replace DeAndre Washington, moving on to the NFL. 2 years in a row, he was a 1,000-yard rusher the past 2 seasons.
QT coming in motion. He's got it. QT slipped out of a tackle and got 5 or 6. It's third down.
And that counts as a pass attempt. Yeah. not a rush, even though essentially is an extension of the run game. But it helps them get within third and manageable, something that they really struggled to be in the first half, even though they had a high conversion rate. The Texas Tech offense. Now, they're still rushing over 100 yards a game, but a dramatic difference from the years past when DeAndre Washington was in the backfield.
Davion Ward started this play in the backfield. He motions out. And on third down and 4, it's incomplete, nearly intercepted. Stephen Parker already has one pick today. Got his hands on a ball intended for Batson. And a 3-and-out for Texas Tech to open half number 2.
Yeah, too high, too hot, just off target. I mean, he had bats on the inside on a slant route. Unfortunately, just too much on it. You got to put it more on the body of the frame of Batson, and he's tiny. He's not an easy target to hit across the middle. He's only 5'9", 180 pounds, but had some space there.
Good sign there for Oklahoma fans. Westbrook limped off of the field late in the first half. He's back to return this punt. Michael Barton. Fair catch from Westbrook. And Oklahoma to begin at the 31-yard line. Sooners in that first half are averaging more than 11 yards per play. 448 yards total over the first 30.
And really the big key has been the trio of playmakers. It's been Mark Andrews, Joe Mixon, and Dede Westbrook. Look at that. Tonight, 85% of their offense as far as their production. Coming into this game, only 55%. Now, part of that was going to go up because Samaje Perine is out, but still, that's essentially what their offense is built around. That's where Baker Mayfield's trying to go with the football.
From the 32-yard line, that's where this drive begins. They've had great success on the first play of drive so far today. Not this one, it didn't look like. Mixon broke out of it. What a highlight show this guy puts on. 68 yards of utter brilliance for Mixon. But there's a flag down way back at the 47. They had him dead to rights, 2 yards in the backfield.
By number 11 of the offense. A 10-yard penalty and replay first down.
Oh, no, not Dede Westbrook. And he usually does such a good job blocking downfield. In Oklahoma's win last week, you know, he had a good block to help set up a Samaje Perine touchdown reception. But look at this. I mean, Joe Mixon, how does he get it? It's almost magic. He's able to somehow get skinny, get through. And you can see right there at the end on the right hand of the screen, right side of the screen, Dede Westbrook grabbing too much jersey. An uncharacteristic mistake for a guy. You can see right here at the end. He's grabbing Paul Banks, and it's hard to see from that vantage point, but as Banks started to go down, you started to see that jersey pull, and that's what the sideline judge is looking for on the outside.
And because it's a spot foul, they still do get 5 yards on that play. 1st and 5. Abdul Adams comes in to take the fake. And Mahomes with a timing route to the outside for Daho Green. Only his second catch of the season. And if you're used to watching Oklahoma and seeing him in 18, he's wearing 2 today because there were 2 number 18s on the same special teams unit. Curtis Bolton the other. So they switch him to 2 so they can both stay on that group.
And the reason why Green was so wide open, the running play. They just hit a big run. They got called back. They got to put extra guys down around the line of scrimmage.
Here's Adams. Good blocking in front. Flowers leading the way from his fullback spot. Malik Jenkins the tackle.
That's the hard part about going up against this Oklahoma offense is look at injured player down is true freshman Desmond Smith. Came up to try to make a play on Adams, but you know the run game has been so effective for Oklahoma. It really puts you in a predicament if you're a defensive coordinator, because the second you start putting that extra body up around the line of scrimmage, you got one guy less on the back end, and you don't really have safety help. So you got your defensive backs out there in one-on-one coverage in space. Let's go back though and take a look at Desmond Smith and see. You can see him coming in for the left side of your screen. And it looks like he puts his head into Ben Powers. It's the left guard. Talked about how Texas Tech has to put more bodies down around the line of scrimmage and what that does to the outside. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys. And as the play plays out, you see once again one-on-one coverage, a lot of space outside, and once again it's DJ Polite-Bray. You know, he's one of the leading tacklers for Texas Tech, but that's because Oklahoma keeps targeting him in one-on-one coverage.
Only the second catch of the year for Green, averaging 38 yards a pop.
He is a big-bodied, tall-frame wide receiver. He's going to be special.
6'4", 200. Mixon back in there. He's got it. And in the open field, Justice Nelson pulls him down. Team captain, 3-year starter, makes it 3rd and 1.
It's one of those seniors that, you know, David Gibbs and Cliff Kingsbury said they really relied on this past week to get this team back and to get them to understand how they need to play the game of football. This is a young team, and they don't have many examples of upperclassmen who can really lead the way, but Justice Nelson is a guy they put a lot of faith and trust in. That's why he's at that nickelback position. At times, it's going to be a guy down around the line of scrimmage, going up against those slot wide receivers.
This would be a direct snap to Joe Mixon. And Mixon waits for his blocks to develop and surges for a first down.
We talked in the first half, the patience that Joe Mixon has. And you hit it right on the head. I mean, he waited a half second, allowed everything to develop, and he knew he could turn on the speed to be able to accelerate through the hole and get the first down.
From the 23. On first down. They bring 5. It's picked up on the slant. It's Westbrook again for another Oklahoma touchdown. His second of the day, his 10th over the last 4 games.
I mean, you just can't cover the guy one-on-one. I mean, look, he's working on Paul Banks. You see the cushion Banks is giving him, and he just beats him out of the break with speed, and he's strong enough to work through the tackle. I mean, that's just simple football. There's not really even much for Baker Mayfield to read. That's what happens when you can run the football effectively.
What a swing in momentum it's been. It was 24-23 Texas Tech with a few seconds left in the first half. Sooners scored 75 yards in 2 plays, and then they score quickly to open the second.
Enjoy your phone.
You too.
Say it, it's not fun when you got to take your helmet off and hear some of that stuff from time to time.
Couple of those 4 touchdowns to D.D. Westbrook. And for more on him, down to Bruce Feldman.
Joe, D.D. Westbrook's emergence really in the past month has been the story of the Sooners season. His position coach, Dennis Simmons, who spent a decade here at Tech, said, "We never had a receiver with wheels like D.D. Westbrook. He had the quickness of Sterling Shepard, but just go the distance speed. But he was slowed by a hamstring pull early in the season. And for the first couple of weeks, people just didn't see it on film. And so now that he's healthy after the bye week, they got into Texas, he has been torching DBs ever since."
From Blinn Community College, where Cam Newton went, Michael Bishop, played for Kansas State in the NFL, and Kyrie Robinson, another running back. So we've got some prominent alum coming from Blinn Community College.
Texas Tech back to work. Mahomes dumps it off. Guess who? Mason Reed. First 3 catches of his career tonight. 3 catches for over 40 yards.
You say guess who, and I wouldn't have guessed it would have been Mason Reed. But the thing I love about it was Patrick Mahomes realized he didn't have time, and he dumped it down. We haven't seen that a lot tonight. He's going to have to start doing it.
Wanted to throw the screen. It was red, and so he has to throw it out of bounds.
We talked about it. You know, he's not going to have the opportunity always to make those big plays downfield. As we can see Justin Murphy coming back into the game. The right guard who was suspended last week after the targeting call. So they get some help up front, a guy with a bit more experience. Shore up some of that protection, a bit more size.
On 2nd and 10. Mahomes in a shrinking pocket. Dangerous throw is broken up on a diving play by Jordan Parker.
The Oklahoma defensive staff is really excited about Jordan Parker. They've been looking for someone at that field corner spot to really step up, and Parker's the guy who's kind of got that size everyone's looking for now. 6'1", 190 pounds, kind of rangy. Also the ability to be able to react and make plays in the football. You saw it right there.
On 3rd down. There's a whistle and a flag.
A false start, number 76 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty and it's still 3rd down.
This is a night to forget for Stay Wars.
You kind of wondered what the changes would be once Justin Murphy came back into the game. Murphy's now at right tackle. Moved down Paul Staworth back to right guard, where maybe he'd be a little more comfortable, but some hit with a false start.
Pressure coming, Jordan Evans, and he finds another window for a long 3rd down conversion. Jonathan Giles. Texas Tech is 6 of 6 on 3rd down and 7 or longer.
This is bizarre right now. Texas Tech, a big completion. They're subbing out offensive linemen. Actually, subbed out offensive lineman was Paul Staworth. So clearly trying to set the tone that they're not going to put up with him continuing to get penalties and make mistakes.
Fake the Ward. Quickly throw. Here's Giles. Down the sideline inside the 35 with a gain of 7. 2nd and 3.
Wasn't a big gain, but a big block by a small guy in Cameron Batson. Watch the hit that he lays on Will Johnson. Never sees it coming. That's 100% legal.
I said 3. They actually only gave him 5. Stepping out at the 33, so 2nd and 5 for Texas Tech. Mahomes again has a window in the middle, but this time off the mark, and Sadler couldn't pull it in. 3rd and 5.
This is where Patrick Mahomes really needs to settle in now. Focus in on his targets. He's been a little bit off so far in the 2nd half. Got to do a better job of giving his wide receivers more catch and run footballs.
We mentioned that they're perfect on 3rd and 7 or longer. Oddly, from this range, 3rd and 5, they're 0 for 4. Pressure coming. Picked up. It's Batson. It's a 1st down. Throws away Will Johnson, who recovers to push him out at the 18. 15 yards and a 1st down for Texas Tech.
And there's a perfect example of Patrick Mahomes being calm in the pocket, addressing his throw and throwing an accurate football that allowed Batson to catch and run to get the 1st down.
Mahomes keeping it. They had it red. And now he throws. Oh, the improvisation. There is a flag down. Was he across the line of scrimmage? As Batson caught it. Now your entire body has to be past the line of scrimmage for it to be a flag. Also very well could have been lineman downfield.
Yeah.
An ineligible player downfield, number 73 of the offense. A 5-yard penalty, and it's still 1st down.
And that's why it's tough to have these run-pass options when you extend the play. You know, typically you're staying in the pocket, giving a little fake and deciding whether or not you're going to give the ball or not on the run. So on the right side of our screen, I believe it's Justin Murphy who just got in the game.
Hardly downfield.
Yeah, I mean, it's cutting it close, but again, that's what happens when you extend these run-pass option plays to the outside.
Justin Stockton making his 1st appearance in the game for Texas Tech, and they waste no time giving it to him. Stockton able to turn the corner for 3 or 4. Emmanuel Beal punches him out, and it's 2nd down. This guy is a highlight reel waiting to happen that has just not been able to get going this year.
Well, he's got a ton of speed. I mean, home run hitting speed and ability. Saw a glimpse of it as he got to the outside, but really what they were looking for is the toughness. He used that stiff arm to pick up some additional yardage. That's what they want him to do. Run tougher with the football. Be more physical as a running back.
Now back to penalty yards, and so it's 2nd and 10. Quickly to Batson. Needs blocks. Jordan Evans couldn't hold on to him. A flag flies in as he carries defenders inside the 10. Cameron Batson only 5'9", 175, but a lot of fight in him. And the flag's back around the line of scrimmage. Judging by the reactions, looks like it's on Texas Tech.
And the ball got out of Patrick Mahomes' hands so quick. I'm curious to see what this is going to be, because there wasn't enough time for anyone to get downfield.
An illegal block below the waist by number 9 of the offense. A 15-yard penalty from the previous spot and replay second down.
Jonathan Giles. Let's just check out what exactly he does. I mean, he barely even made contact. I mean, obviously he attempted to, but usually that's considered when you're going back into the play, not with it. And we've seen guys cut wide receivers on the outside already throughout the course of this game.
That moves them all the way back to the 33. And now a whistle. And not allowed to go back into the formation and block low. Back towards the ball. Giles is definitely headed out. Mike Pereira, what are we missing on this last one?
We're missing a lot of things in this game. It's going to last until tomorrow, but you can't block low unless you come from the front. They call it 10-2. It has to be from the front. So if you come from the side, ball's out of the box, it's a foul if you go low, period, unless you're right from the front.
But they drop it into Reggie Davis for a touchdown. On 2nd and 25, over the top for the score. And they're calling trainers over. We're going to see Davis to his feet.
Well, he didn't have a ton of room. Took him up the tunnel. One-on-one. Working on the true freshman, Jordan Parker. Reggie Davis, he's just got too much speed in a perfectly thrown ball by Patrick Mahomes. Enough trajectory on the football to drop it in with enough air to the outside so the defender couldn't make a play on the football. And we're going to be looking to see if Reggie Davis caught the football and got a foot in. He maintains control and possession as he goes up through the tunnel almost halfway to the locker room. But what a big play after coming off of, at least in my mind, based on what Mike Pereira, how he stated it. I mean, he didn't even really make a block or play on Will Johnson. So I don't know. It's a little bit of a ticky-tack foul in my opinion.
Extra point good. Back and forth we go in this one. Reggie Davis getting behind the freshman Parker, and Texas Tech back to within a touchdown.
Where is he?
We're never putting Chris in charge of the
thrown ball from Mahomes. He has Texas Tech back to within 6. And a touchback. Time for a game break. Mike Pomerantz.
It is over now on Fox Sports 1. The Cubs and Dodgers NLCS. Aroldis Chapman gets the game-ending double play ball. Cubs with a 5-0 shutout of the Dodgers. Chicago now winners of the National League pennant. Chicago and its fans really electric tonight, folks. They're looking for their first World Championship since 1908. It'll be the Cubs and the Indians in Cleveland. Game 1 of the World Series Tuesday night, right here on Fox.
Wow.
How about that? Yeah. And I believe it will be game 1 is the same night as the Cleveland Cavs, who will be receiving their championship rings.
Okay.
Same night. Opening night for the Cavs and game 1 for the World Series there in Cleveland.
Championship town now. Title town, Cleveland. They hope. Oklahoma starts at the 25-yard line. Mixon swings out. Mayfield tucks it. Goes the other way. And runs out of bounds after 4.
Just a brilliant play design by offensive coordinator Lincoln Riley. Kind of gone to this one time or another. Utilized Mixon out in space. Instead, that time they used him kind of as a decoy, and then Baker Mayfield's able to tuck back in behind the pulling offensive lineman.
A 169 topping a previous career high, which came against Texas Tech last year when he had 154. And a whistle as the teams both go to the sideline for a moment. Gives us a chance to go down to Bruce.
Joe Mixon made headlines at OU long before he ever played for the Sooners. He was involved in a June 2014 incident at a restaurant in Norman where he struck a woman in the face. The woman, an OU student, suffered broken bones in her face. Mixon later said to an attorney he acted in self-defense. We'll get back to this in a second.
In front of the 2nd and 7 play where they fake the Mixon and have an open basket at midfield for a first down, Bruce.
Yeah, Joe, so OU sidelined him actually for the 2014 season. It was a really ugly incident that for many folks has defined Mixon. Sooner coaches, though, say Mixon's actually one of the last guys they'd have expected to be involved in an incident like that. Earlier this week, Bob Stoops told us that Mixon brings positive energy every day and has actually become one of the most popular guys on their team.
He's in the backfield on first down from the 48. He's got it. And he's got a gain of 5. He was already charged with a misdemeanor. There's now an ongoing lawsuit that's been filed by the victim. And the latest news is that the victim has withdrawn a previous intervention to keep the video of that incident from being released. It still never was released publicly. But that's the latest news in an ongoing civil case. 2nd and 5 for Oklahoma from the Texas Tech 43. Mixon swings out, opens up a window for D.D. Westbrook, but couldn't get a foot down. And Oklahoma's looking at 3rd and 5.
This ball is just too high, too hard. Fortunately for D.D. Westbrook, he couldn't get really a foot down inbounds. Close. You can see Baker Mayfield will take that cushion and take that one-on-one matchup all night. He'll do a better job of his timing routes to the outside. Let's see if Texas Tech dials up some pressure.
They bring 5. Mixon with a gain of just 1. But was that thing blown dead before the start of the play? If not, it's going to be 4th down.
Snap,
yep.
Oklahoma called their first time out of the half.
You got to be wondering if maybe they wanted to utilize a timeout this early, thinking at where they are in the field, if they're thinking about it being a 4-down territory at this point. The way this game's gone, too, every possession matters. So you got to do something with the football because neither defense is able to stop the opposing offense for the majority of the night.
What do we have total yards now? 1,078. And we are midway through the 3rd quarter.
Well, at halftime, we were on pace to eclipse the century mark as far as points scored in this game. There was a lot of people out there who may be surprised, maybe not, depending on how you looked at these two teams coming into it. But David Gibbs there. These defensive coordinators in the Big 12, they really have their work cut out for them. And it's not just David Gibbs at Texas Tech. It's, Mike Stoops, he's dealing with it too at Oklahoma. They're not as good as they were last year, but it's everyone. Everyone right now in college football is trying to figure out how to stop these up-tempo, fast-paced offenses and how to defend these run-pass options. It's so hard. It's like trying to defend a fast break in basketball.
Yeah, they picked the wrong era to be defensive coordinators. Trying to stop a 3rd and 5. Mixon is left alone out of the backfield, and with a one-handed reception, he stays on his feet and scores again. 43 yards. Magic Mixon.
And this, to me, is just a mental error. We've seen Oklahoma utilize Mixon out of the backfield, but Gary Moore was the guy who was responsible for him. But look at the one-handed catch. I mean,
like
what more can you say about him? Looks like it was up there on a platter, and he just brings it down. But why? How do you put a defensive end in one-on-one coverage on Mixon anyways?
All 3 of his touchdowns have gone for more than 40 yards. And Oklahoma back in front by 2 scores. So casual about it, too. I'll take that. I'll take 6 more.
Faster, faster, faster.
On that old PC?
Not even close when you look at who's 2. Louisiana Tech's 2. and they're, what, 120 yards a game behind them?
And Texas Tech is on pace to raise that average, which already sits 5-11 a game. And so the Red Raiders to begin at the 25-yard line. And we go back to that touchdown.
Well, when you blitz, you gamble. So David Gibbs is going to draw up a blitz, and then he's going to try to drop the end Gary Moore. The problem is now Gary Moore is responsible for Joe Mixon. And look at the amount of space he gives him, let alone the fact that you've got a smaller, more athletic player on a defensive lineman. They say it's the perfect play call by Lincoln Riley. Not a good play call by David Gibbs, but really good execution by Baker Mayfield to see it, realize this matchup, and then give, I guess, Mixon a catchable ball.
Yeah, for him. Mahomes back out there, 31 of 56. DeLeon Ward stays on his feet for a gain of 2. Bruce Feldman was just reporting to us that Bob Stoops a moment ago was getting after the defense, saying we need to come up with a stop. Like every time Oklahoma has started to pull away, Texas Tech has had an answer. They fake short, and now Mahomes has no choice but to bury it out of bounds.
Well, it starts up front. Starts with the defensive line for Oklahoma. They have to do a better job of affecting Patrick Mahomes in the pocket. He's been uncomfortable at times, but when they get a shot on him, they got to find a way of bringing him down. And I don't see Matt Romar in the game. He's been a big piece. He's been banged up a little bit tonight. Jordan Wade, number 93, is in his place. The guy who's really stepped up is Neville Gallimore. He's going to be big. He's got to continue to get pressure.
On 3rd and 7, they bring 4. They throw right into the blitz, and Batson has enough for a first down. Texas Tech, 8 of 8 on 3rd and 7 or longer.
Gambling with house money at this point, but you know, there's 2 ways of beating a blitz. You either throw into it or throw away from it. That time, Texas Tech chose to throw into it. Batson was able to get the first down.
Batson's lined up in the backfield here for a trick play. And they've got an open Sadler crossing the field. First down into Oklahoma territory. Handed it to Batson. Flipped it back to Mahomes, who hit Sadler.
It's like playing hot potato. You're pitching the ball all around, and it's really just to get the Oklahoma defense to slow down. They don't know where the ball's going, and all of a sudden Eden Sadler's running wide open across the field for the first down in the big game.
And why make Batson the guy there? Well, Batson's one of those converted quarterbacks. Threw one back to Mahomes, who fakes to QT. Now throws on the move and overthrows Davis, who had beaten Jordan Parker. And Mahomes upset about something. Really upset about something.
I think he wanted Reggie Davis to come more across the field. At least that was what he was signaling downfield. These Texas Tech wide receivers on the outside are burners. It's hard to keep up with them.
Oklahoma showing pressure on 2nd down. Sooners haven't brought a ton of it today. They've been able to get pressure with their down men. First career reception for Quan Shorts, and he stumbles over the 40. Redshirt freshman from Humboldt, Texas. Looked like he had some room, but goes down in a gain of 4. Second career reception, beg your pardon.
Once again, you see Texas Tech throwing into the blitz. They bring people from one space. Texas Tech is going to try to throw the football into that void.
It's over 500 yards now. 3rd and 5.
Just another night for the Texas Tech offense.
Yes. And timeout.
Oklahoma calls their second timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
So only one left for Bob Stoops back in 30 seconds.
And they're up by 2 scores, but now they have 1 timeout left. You can tell Bob Stoops thinks this is a big 3rd down, and Texas Tech has struggled at 3rd and 5 for some reason.
Yeah, they've been great 3rd down and 7 or longer. They've only converted once at this range. 1 for 5 on around 3rd and 5. They run it with Ward. And Jordan Wade throws him down 2 yards short.
And you got to go for it if you're Cliff Kingsbury and Texas Tech. Might seem like it's too early, but I mean, it's too short to punt the football, and your defense hasn't been able to stop Oklahoma. You got to go for it.
They have been one of the worst fourth down teams in the country this year. On 4th down and 2.
Got one-on-one coverage on the outside.
Back-to-back runs, and Ward has enough for a first down. Rarely do you see that from the 2016 Red Raiders.
How about that? You haven't been successful running the football all year long, but you utilize it to get a 4th down.
And on first down, Mahomes with a flag down, perfectly thrown to Batson. But a flag back around the line of scrimmage. $20-yard gain. Is it going to get wiped away? Would not be the first time tonight.
A chop block by number 32 of the offense. It's a 15-yard penalty, and it's still first down.
It's the true freshman, DeLeon Ward, getting more playing time than he's ever seen in the course of this year. Let's go back and check it out. He's right here. You're going to see him. And that's about the definition. He goes low. The offensive lineman is engaged high. Be the definition of a chop block. And again, you see Texas Tech with a penalty. It takes away a huge gain.
They would have had it first down at the 15. Instead, 1st and 25 back in midfield. Remember, on 2nd and 25 earlier this quarter, they threw a touchdown to Reggie Davis. Mahomes rolling, steps away from one man, and will cut it upfield and get back a chunk. DJ Ward pressured him out of there, but he runs for a dozen.
Look how nifty Patrick Mahomes is. He gets outside the pocket. You see Austin Roberts trying to go after him, but he just switches the ball to his left hand like it's nothing. Keeps his eyes downfield. Look, he wasn't able to find anything, but he picks up a positive gain and keeps them moving.
2nd and 16. 4 receivers into the wide side of the field. Mahomes looking that way. Lofting one down there, and it's incomplete. Again, had one-on-one. QT against Parker, but nowhere close.
As I'm sitting here looking at the Texas Tech wide receivers, they're starting to look a little bit gassed. And we've still got plenty of time left in this game, but look at how many plays Texas Tech has run so far. 78 plays. I mean, they average somewhere in the 80s, but I mean, we got plenty of time left to play.
3rd and long, just for Texas Tech, is most comfortable today. They clock down to 5. Mahomes back to throw. Has time. Now scrambling. Heaving one into the end zone. It is caught for a touchdown. Giles came back around 2 defenders for a score from 44.
I can only imagine the conversation Cliff Kingsbury is having with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, this is just street ball. You'll see Jonathan Giles right here. He's going to find his way to the other corner of the end zone. 2 guys on him, and he just goes and makes a play on the football better than anyone in the secondary of Oklahoma. I mean, if you're Mike Stoops, you got to be pulling your hair out up in the press box.
Mahomes had his nameplate ripped off there, too. I don't think you need a nameplate for folks around here to know who he is. 6:01 for Oklahoma, and we still have 20 minutes of football. D.D. Westbrook on the return, shy of the 25. And we go back to the studio and Mike Pomerantz.
Joe Brady, number 11 Houston at SMU in Dallas tonight. All SMU this evening. Mustangs snapping a 3-game losing streak. Here's the capper. Braden West, a 10-yard touchdown run, 38-16 the final. The fans ecstatic because for SMU, it's their first win over a ranked team in 5 years.
And that does not look good for Oklahoma and their bid to try to still make it in the college football playoff. Look, a lot of football left to be played, but if they win the Big 12, All of a sudden, that loss to Houston to begin the season doesn't look quite as good, I guess, if you could put a loss that way.
Mixon. 2nd and 7. They spotted him well short of where he finished. 2nd down and more like 8 or 9.
What's gone unnoticed is how efficient Baker Mayfield's been. And it's in part because he's been just running the system, playing from the pocket, making throws. And it's not as flashy as what Patrick Mahomes has done, but he's had himself a heck of a night as well.
Fake to Mixon this time. Over the middle for a 1st down. That's the Penn State transfer, Geno Lewis, for a pickup of 17.
Tackle made by number 17, Tyreek Hill.
From the 43, Mixon into the short side of the field. Colin Hill, a Notre Dame transfer. Transfers from big-time programs, putting their stamp on this stretch.
He's one of the guys they've kind of leaned on up front as far as one of those edge players. He's got to be stout and run, but also still agile and quick enough on the edge to be able to affect passers. Only has 1 sack on the season, though.
Only 6'2", 250, undersized. They love how hard he plays, though. Mayfield rolls. Has Lewis open again. Back-to-back receptions for him. And an Oklahoma 1st down. Up to the 41. For a guy that had some really good numbers early on in his career at Penn State, and then kind of fell out of favor his last season there and transferred in to finish his career this year.
You know, we talked to Lincoln Riley. He said, you know, he's starting to feel more and more comfortable with their scheme and what they're doing. He's been a solid blocker all year long. There's no doubt that he's one of the more physical wide receivers they have on their team.
Mixon straight ahead. Hit the hole hard. Got 7 or 8. Pipkins the tackle. 2nd and short.
I mean, Mixon isn't even getting touched until he's about 6 yards downfield. And credit the Oklahoma offensive line. They've started to kind of dominate now the line of scrimmage and some of that push. You can see Bobby Evans, the right tackle, is laying right next to Mixon on the ground. That's how far he was pushing his defender downfield.
This line is going to be a monster in time. 3 sophomores and a freshman up there.
Started 3 games now together as far as the group with the positions that they're at currently tonight.
Continuity huge for them. 2nd down and 2. Mayfield a deep drop. All kinds of time from that O-line. But the coverage downfield makes him scramble. And throw for Flowers, who adjusts with a flag. He caught it. Touchdown Oklahoma. The fullback, Dimitri Flowers, from 35 yards.
Pass interference by number 38 of the defense. Penalties decline. Touchdown.
Well, then there's one example of how special Baker Mayfield is when he can buy time running around. He had all time. Their offensive line did a good job giving him time in the pocket. And then it was able to extend the play, and he goes to one of the most unlikely guys. Dimitri Flowers, a guy who coming into the game didn't even have a rush for the Oklahoma offense. And see Keyshawn Allen clearly just trying to get back at the hip of Dimitri Flowers to even make a play on the football. I don't think he even thought it was going to him.
Yeah. 6 of his 14 career catches have been touchdowns now, Dimitri Flowers. That one looked a little different than you normally expect from a fullback.
Usually he's getting the ball out of the flat or off of a boot, and it's somewhere around the goal line or short yardage. It's not
going up
40 yards downfield.
Fighting through PI. Time of the KFC stat comparison. Neither one of these guys has anything to feel bad about. 548 for Mahomes, 455 and 6 touchdowns for Mayfield.
I mean, did you expect anything different? These guys coming into this game were number 2 and 3 as far as passer rating of all the Power 5 conferences in the country right now. That's how well both quarterbacks are playing and good with the football, but you see what makes them so special. Their creativity once the play breaks down.
Told you things get weird in Lubbock at night.
Still a lot of football left to be played, too.
minute 36 in the third. Seibert's done a nice job of burying that thing in there. Yeah, tomorrow on Fox NFL kickoff at 11 a.m. to get things going, and then a full slate of games highlighted by Vikings and Eagles. Sam Bradford against his old team.
And that looks more like Sam Bradford than maybe some other graphics we've seen before of Sam Bradford playing now for the Minnesota Vikings. Not wearing gloves, I think I saw before in a graphic, and long sleeves.
He's never been a great uniform guy.
The baggy sleeves.
Baggy sleeves, wide open face mask. Don't play fans know about.
Playing really well, though.
He sure is. QT was finding that ball arriving as soon as he snapped his head around. 2nd down and 7. Mahomes got rid of it. Oh my goodness. Nobody close to Davis. That's 3 or 4 times now they've missed on golden opportunities down the field.
And you just can't do that when you're in a shootout with Baker Mayfield and the Oklahoma offense. Look at this. And here's the thing, Reggie Davis does a tremendous job of making a move at the top of his route to turn the hips of the cornerback. That's why he was able to get so wide open. Parker got turned all around, didn't have any vision on Davis.
3rd down 7. This time it's Shorts. And a 1st down for Texas Tech. They've still not been stopped today on 3rd and 7 or longer.
You've got to think, though, at some point it's going to come back to bite them. I mean, that's just the percentages. It's kind of working right now in a vacuum, but over the course of this game, at some point, that's going to hurt them.
1st down from the 39. Quickly to Batson, one-on-one, comes inside, finds Austin Roberts there to rip him down.
That's what they need to do more of. You know, Kansas State utilized a lot of those quick passes to the outside to their wide receivers last week when we were able to get a good amount of yards on 1st and 2nd down because the Oklahoma secondary plays so soft out there. And it's just an easy pitch and catch, a high percentage throw.
Same thing here. And Parker is giving about 10 yards down to the near side of the screen. Similar cushion up top. Lauderdale takes advantage for a 1st down.
And you look at a guy like Devin Lauderdale, he's fast enough where he makes one move, and if Jordan Thomas misses, he's up the sideline for a touchdown. You could probably make the case for Reggie Davis as well, and Kiki QT. I mean, any of these guys, once they get open in space, they are extremely tough to be able to bring down to the ground.
Final seconds of this 3rd quarter. Mahomes back to throw. Pressure from his backside. Floats one up there. DeLeon Ward can't run under it. And that's how this quarter comes to a close. What in the wide world of offense does the 4th quarter have in store for us?
Thank you for making FS1.
Deshaun Watson's got a bye, but they got a big game next week versus Florida State and Ohio State. JT Barrett better watch out. Down 24-21 in the 4th quarter. Jake Browning continues to play well. Will Peppers is another guy who, longer Michigan stays in the race for the college football playoff, he's got a shot.
Start the 4th quarter with a 2nd and 10 for Texas Tech. Oklahoma shows pressure and brings it. Swing it out to QT. Good tackle by Thomas in space. Season high in tackles for him. 3rd down and 6.
They're probably wishing that QT maybe would have got one less yard. They've been so good at 3rd and 7 plus.
Yeah, and I was wrong.
There we go. This is right in their wheelhouse then. And again, 2-score game, probably 4-down territory depending on the game. Look at the cushion on the outside.
On 3rd and 7. Mahomes is pressured, finds a seam to take off for a 1st down.
You just can't win. You rush 3, you drop 8, he finds a seam and then runs to pick up the 1st down. You try to pressure him, he gets the ball out of his hand quick. and all of a sudden one of these speedy wide receivers is able to beat one of your defensive backs for a big play or first down.
Best he's looked since that shoulder injury a few weeks ago. He's not practiced a ton the last few weeks, although this week more practice than at any point since the injury. Said he was feeling as good as at any point since the injury. They've float one, and Samber's got a first down. Doesn't matter what either one of these teams does right now, they're moving it.
And this is the perfect description of a passer. He's not a thrower. He uses touch in the ability to drop the football in behind the defensive coverage. I can't tell you how hard that is to do.
And it was with Justin Stockton in the game as a decoy swinging out. He stays in there, number 4. And outside again, it's Sandler. A block from Shorts, and then Oklahoma rallied defensively to help Capri Doucette get the tackle. Second down.
Nice play by Doucette. He's kind of had to have a good game. Him and Will Johnson, those guys have been working in and out, come out that almost nickel Sam position. They've been asked to do a lot. They've got a tough task of playing in space, trying to bring down wide receivers who are a lot of times quicker than you are.
Mahomes zips one incomplete. He's now thrown 73 passes, which is a new Texas Tech record, and that's saying something around here.
Well, he's got a baseball background. It's almost like pitching. What, 9 innings, something like that? So he's working that pitch count up there, but I mean, that's the style that Texas Tech has really played all season long on offense. It's been heavily based upon his arm, and he's got to convert here on third down.
Breaking Graham Harrell's record, which was set in an upset win against Oklahoma back in 2007. On 3rd and 8, speed option. Mahomes trying to get outside, and with a fake pitch, Mahomes has 6.
He can throw so effective, but then he runs the speed option. Look, there's no one outside, and Mahomes with the pitch fake, but really what he did well was he stretched the defense to force the Oklahoma defender to then take the running back, which allowed the seam and really the free run to the end zone.
591 through the air for him. And now nearing 70 yards rushing. Make that 75. 685 total for Texas Tech to go along with Oklahoma's 677. Got the cell phones out again. And somehow Baker Mayfield's gotten overshadowed because of what Patrick Mahomes has done. But Mayfield, Brady, 21 of 29, 455, 6 touchdowns to match a single game record, and he's not turned it over.
Yeah, he's been incredible, and he's really playing the type of style that Lincoln Riley wants him to do. Playing within the pocket, going through his reads and his progressions, but it's a part because Joe Mixon has made it easy for Baker Mayfield tonight. He's been so explosive in the backfield, averaging 9 yards a touch. So it's opened up a lot of things, I think, for him in the back end.
Mixon trying to take the crowd out of it. 5 yards. Malik Jenkins, another tackle. Season high 11 for him. 2nd and 5.
And Malik Jenkins has been another guy that stepped up, a senior on this Texas Tech defense. We talked about before after the rough performance last week. They're looking for guys to step up, leaders. Malik Jenkins has been just that. Couple tackles for loss too as well.
Mixon again. This time he's got a first down, but a flag comes in late. There's a flag flying in from the back judge. And it's going to be a hold on Oklahoma.
Holding by number 71 of the offense. It's a 10-yard penalty and it's still second down.
So right tackle Bobby Evans.
The red shirt freshman. Let's see as he comes around, and of course, who's it on? Malik Jenkins. Let's see his left arm on the outside of Jenkins, not allowing him to really make a play on Joe Mixon. Again, credit the Texas Tech defense. Look, this has been an offensive performance, but there's been a few moments where this Texas Tech defense has stepped up. Malik Jenkins is one of the guys who's made a decent amount of plays tonight.
Kind of got to redefine what success is for a defense in this day and age. Second down 11. Mayfield well protected. Zips one in there for Basquin. And a first down and a gain of 16. Fourth catch of the night for the walk-on from Norman.
I don't think he's going to be a walk-on much longer the way he's been playing this season.
It's Mixon. Slips his way through initial contact and gets 3. And we're talking about redefining success. How many times has David Gibbs said to us, I just want my team to have a shot in the final minutes. He knows that an offense like Oklahoma is going to put up points, but can they do enough to keep their team in the game?
As fast as both teams play, too. One of the concerns is just getting lined up. I mean, half the time it's like, I just want them to be in the right position, so every play we have a chance.
Oklahoma's moved over 700 yards of offense. Second down 7. Mayfield a strong arm strike. D.D. Westbrook stop and start. First down inside the 35 and down to the 30. Another huge night for Westbrook, who adds 26 more to his total. Now 190 for Westbrook.
Yeah, and that's something you just can't do. If you're Justice Nelson, you can't miss this tackle. You got to find a way of utilizing the sidelines to get D.D. Westbrook out of bounds and can't allow a big gain.
Mayfield changes the play on first down. It's a fake to Mixon. Going short side. Flag flies in from the secondary as Westbrook has another reception, this time tackled by Nelson. See if he pushed off to get that separation.
Hopefully we'll get to it, but that was a good job by Baker Mayfield of working through his progression. Again, playing
holding
within
an
the
eligible
system.
receiver by the defense. The penalties declined. First down.
Nope, it's on Texas Tech and decline.
But Baker Mayfield scanned the left side of the field, didn't see anything. He came back around D.D. Westbrook, like a comeback route, had enough time, and so we'll put the ball in the money for the first down.
Best 4-game stretch for a wide receiver in Oklahoma history. D.D. Westbrook over 200 again. Mixon. Texas Tech doing a better job against the Oklahoma run lately. Second down 7. Michael and Thomas credit for the tackle. Career high 194 for Mixon. David Gibbs is trying to come up with some way to get off of the field, or at least limit Oklahoma to a field goal. On second and 7. They swing it out to Mixon. In space. Mixon cuts it back and spins in for another OU touchdown. This one from 15. A new school record for Baker Mayfield with 7 touchdowns tonight.
So David Gibbs and Texas Tech, they bring pressure again. Off the edge, you see Jashawn Johnson, and really it ends up being number 12, Zach Barnes. He's the one that busts this play. He was responsible for Joe Mixon in coverage. He's the widest guy. He should have went with him and not allowed that reception. But good throw by Baker Mayfield, trying to find a way and get a window to throw the ball to Joe Mixon, and big play We now watch Oklahoma go for 2.
Try and make this a 14-point game. Try to make up for the missed extra point on their first touchdown an eternity ago. They swing it to Westbrook. He's got the corner, and he's got 2 more. And so the lead is 14 for Oklahoma. Out of those 7 touchdown passes for Mayfield, 3 of them to Mixon, who's got 4 total on a career night.
Ever since I took this case, weird stuff.
In Lubbock, Texas. 59-45 Oklahoma. Nobody's stopping anybody in the second half especially. Reggie Davis goes back to return yet another kick. It's a short one. Davis will have a chance. Got 1 block. Unable to get the edge. Angled out by Parker. Time for a game break. Back to Mike Pomerantz.
Number 2 Ohio State at Penn State. Buckeyes with a lead in the 4th. Ohio State kicker Tyler Durbin, a field goal attempt blocked by Marcus Allen and returned 60 yards by Grant Haley for a touchdown. 24-21 Nittany Lions. Number 2 Ohio State going down in a shocker at Happy Valley. Joe?
Wow. That's how it happened. A blocked field goal return for a touchdown.
Michigan's got to be sitting there looking pretty. Shot for the Big Ten title now.
Mahomes in this offense. 685 yards today. Stands calmly. And throws incomplete. Deleon Ward crossing the field. 42 of 74. Those 74 attempts, a score record. He needs now 7 completions to match the single game completions record held by his head coach, Cliff Kingsbury.
92 plays so far in this game. We play Texas next week. Imagine the staff having to break down 100 and some plays by the end of this.
A little bit different style than they saw today against K-State. Able to get home with only 4, but he steps away from Beal and throws back against the grain for QT. 3rd down and 2.
It's hard to appreciate how strong and really how big Patrick Mahomes is. I mean, that's the hard thing. You look at Beal, who's able to get an arm on him, but you got to get 2 around him. I mean, he's just too strong. His lower body is big and thick and stronger than you think, but here's the thing, throwing across the body is like a cardinal no-no. But, I mean, look, he still finds a way of doing it, completing it, and what can you say at the end of the day?
Yard short of 600 now. 3rd down and 2. Gone to the run in some short yardage situations in this second half, and they do again for a 1st down and then some. Deleon Ward, first career start for the true freshman tonight. He goes for 13. 30 yards total for him now.
Similar system to what he ran in high school under head coach Derek Robertson at Skyline.
Mahomes, good field in the pocket, lofting one, downfield, and again he's missed an open man deep. This time Giles with Thomas in coverage. As many yards as he has, as many tremendous, amazing plays as he's made, there have been a lot of missed opportunities down the field.
Left some out there, and I think the hardest thing as a quarterback, when you're scrambling up in the pocket, you're bringing some momentum with you, so it's a little bit harder to be as accurate throwing the ball down the field because you got to put a little more air on it, take a little bit off, because your momentum, your body running with the throw carries it that much more.
On 2nd and 10. Off his back foot this time. QT's all alone. It's a Texas Tech touchdown. This time he connected from 56. This game is bonkers.
I mean, what do you say? Kiki QT motions down into a stack. That puts Jordan Thomas in outside leverage position. And if I'm Jordan Thomas, I'm just getting into a track sprint because that's all Texas Tech is doing is they're stretching the field vertically. And they're basically saying, our guys are faster than your guys. See if you can cover us.
And so in this storied passing history of Texas Tech, Patrick Mahomes 6 yards short of a school record for a single game. 6:55 for Pat Mahomes.
State 5-2.
You want to go?
I think we should go.
Let's go.
All right. Make a trip out there. Let's do it.
But can Texas Tech come up with a stop? 7:56 to go, and Baker Mayfield and OU back to work from the 25. Been a career day for Joe Mixon. Has to bubble to the outside. Keyshawn Allen, sophomore safety, drags him down. He got 6 or 7. And moves over 200 yards for the day.
Keyshawn Allen's a guy who's really stepped up. Replace of injured Keenan Ward. Keenan Ward's seen some action tonight, but he's been a guy as a sophomore to step up. And he's extremely undersized, but the coaching staff loves how hard he plays. I mean that he only weighs about 175 pounds.
Second down 3. Out of the pistol. They bring Mixon straight downhill this time for an Oklahoma first down. Oklahoma has scored touchdowns on 5 consecutive drives. That's every drive since they turned it over on downs late in the first half.
They've been running the football effectively. Mayfield's been efficient in the passing game, but you got to wonder too, at some point, with the run of the football, the defensive line and really the defense for Texas Tech is going to start to get worn down.
From the 36 on a 1st and 10. Mayfield pulls it this time, and Malik Jenkins can't get it. Mayfield's got a first down. There Igima pushed him out, and now flag slide. Who will this flag be on? Over on the Oklahoma sideline, Mayfield and Igima coming together. Right in front of the Texas Tech student section, which has been rabid from the moment Mayfield took the field today. That's Malik Jenkins, the injured player.
After the play, taunting by number 6 of the offense. It's a 15-yard penalty and replay first down. That is number 6 first taunting, unsportsmanlike conduct penalty of the game.
And he would be thrown out with a second. And yeah, that's just uncalled for.
Yeah, and look, he just let his emotions get the best of him. I'm sure he's been hearing it in the sidelines from the student section the entire game. And it's just something that coming into this week, and talking to the coaching staff, that they really kind of set him aside and said, look, this isn't about Baker Mayfield versus Texas Tech. This is about Oklahoma going into Lubbock, tough environment on the road, and getting a win. And so don't allow all the extracurriculars and all the noise on the outside to get to you. He's played fantastic tonight. He really has. Up until that moment, you wouldn't know that anything's been affecting him.
You mentioned it earlier, but when he came here on his own dime 2 years ago as an Oklahoma walk-on, 1 year after he had transferred from Texas Tech, an Oklahoma State trooper had to escort him out of here. 6.5 to go. First down does stand. The 15 yards coming after the play. 1st and 10 from the 37. Mayfield rolls. Looking back against the green, and it's incomplete. Nearly intercepted by Jashawn Johnson. 2nd and 10.
And that's one of the other key things that has been missing for the Texas Tech defense, turnovers. We're going to see Dahu Green coming across. Jashawn Johnson backpedals into the window. Couldn't get 2 hands on the football. Mayfield playing with fire.
Mixon, that's a strike and a first down to Geno Lewis to quiet the crowd in a gain of 16.
We talked about the percentage of production that Westbrook and Mixon and Andrews were at halftime. 85% of the offensive yards came from those 3 players, but it's been Lewis, it's been Green, it's been other pieces of their offense that have really stepped up in the second half in key situations.
Oklahoma's over 800 yards of offense now on the 46-yard line. Quickly outside, Michael Jones, the true freshman, clipped down by Keyshawn Allen.
Mayfield's pass complete to number 3.
Baker Mayfield, 26 of 35, 545 yards, and a school record 7 touchdowns in his return to the place where he began his college career. Mixon, big hole, Joe Mixon, goodbye. Touchdown, Oklahoma. This one from 42 is 5th of the day.
That was just another example of the Texas Tech defense putting all the bodies down around the line of scrimmage. There's no one in the back end as far as the last line of defense. So once Joe Mixon gets through the line of scrimmage, it's just green grass, green turf, whatever you want to call it. Another big night, another big run for Joe Mixon versus this Texas Tech defense. Saw it a year ago. Set another career record for himself tonight.
251. Oklahoma now within 25 yards of a school record for a single game. 852 tonight. 852 yards of offense. The school record for Oklahoma is 875. They racked that up on a 1-10 Colorado team back in 1980. Reggie Davis from the 1. A flag down. Davis down at the 15.
Reginald Davis on the return for the Red Raiders, flag on.
And if he's cramping up, you don't blame him.
Yeah, he didn't have his normal pop on that
Holding
return.
by number 32 of the return team. The penalty's half the distance to the goal, and it's first down.
All right, we're going to do a futile exercise here. Progressive performance of the game. What are you picking? I mean,
you could have picked a number of players, so we picked 2. You look at Mayfield's performance, he's been efficient, incredible through the air, working the system. Mahomes has put this team on his back. You see the passing yards, but he's leading them in rushing as well. It's over 700 yards and 6 touchdowns total tonight. And really, Mixon's the other player you could throw in the mix. 365 total yards, rushing and receiving, and 5 touchdowns for him. Then we couldn't even put him in the graphic. So at this point, I mean, pick whichever guy, maybe both offensive coordinators, offensive staffs as well. As good job as they've done really preparing for this matchup.
And Davis helped to his feet and upping his way off. Been all kinds of records set, nearing others, including for Patrick Mahomes, who is 23 yards away from the all-time record. By the way, these two teams have combined to set a Big 12 record for a single game. More than 1,600 yards. But Mahomes 23 yards away from Connor Halliday's record, 751. He set against Cal October 4th, 2014. Mahomes has 728. And 4:55 left. I think he's going to get it.
He's got almost the length of the field to go, so there's no doubt it's going to be on his arm and his shoulder to carry the weight for this team.
The 8-yard line, Justin Stockton is in there. He'll take the fake. Mahomes setting in his own end zone. Throws a first down. Donovan Giles to the 25 on a gain of 18. So he's 5 yards short of the NCAA record.
Giles has been a little bit quiet in the second half, so you got to credit the Oklahoma defense. Made some adjustments at halftime to try to limit his success catching the football. But once again, Mahomes finds the open window to Giles in the middle of the field.
Trying to track down the NCAA record for total yards in a game. He's got the Tech record for passing yards in a game. And he adds to it with QT. And now he most certainly does have the NCAA record for total yards in a game. Patrick Mahomes. The spot where that nameplate belongs is where he's put his team tonight. Down 2 scores, 4:15 and counting. Backpedaling, under pressure, gets rid of it. On the sideline, it's incomplete. Diving attempt from Lauderdale, 2nd and 10.
The guy who's been really quiet tonight and really hasn't had too big of an impact or effect on this game is number 31, Obo Okoronkwo. Last 3 games had 4 sacks. He's been pestering quarterbacks all year long. But Mahomes and Texas Tech, guys up front, they've done a good job of trying to limit him.
It's almost like the crowd is just totally gassed. A little flat here right now. Texas Tech down 2 touchdowns. Mahomes scanning, stepping up, taking off, and sliding down, crossing midfield. It'll be 3rd down and short. They'll spot him where he began that slide, so 3rd and 3.
Yeah, and look, what you're seeing right now is Oklahoma kind of in, not a prevent, but they're only rushing 3. They're basically saying, yeah, go ahead and try to go get a score because your defense can't stop our offense, and we're up by 2 scores. So they'll take Patrick Mahomes scrambling and pick up the 1st down as long as it takes some extra time off the clock.
It's Mahomes on a run-pass option, somehow sneaks it into Sadler for a 1st down.
It's been that kind of night. I mean, it's almost like the ball is just finding the wide receivers once it leaves his hand.
From the 45. Clock winding inside of 3.5. Mahomes has one-on-one on the outside, takes advantage. Another 1st down. Juan Shorts. These teams, by the way, have combined to set the NCAA all-time record for yards in a game. And I try to tell you exactly what it is right now, but why bother? Because it's going to change on this play. A deep drop, another throw, another 1st down. Cameron Batson at the 20. Even Parker tackles him. 3 minutes to go.
Patrick Mahomes, number 13, Cameron Batson.
Mahomes is 49 of 83 for 719. Rolling. Throwing it away.
If there was a question about how his shoulder felt, I mean, after this performance with all the attempts, I can't imagine it's hurting him or feeling that bad. And he practiced more this week, and look at that, 800 total yards tonight. Team that's really struggled to run the football. He's leading their leading rusher tonight, and yeah, it's been that season for Patrick Mahomes. He's been everything to this team.
And as a testament to what kind of game it's been, his team's losing by 14.
Oklahoma
take a
calls their
breath.
final timeout.
30-second break. Back for the final 2:49. FS1, you and I will be in Stillwater, West Virginia, and Oklahoma State.
Did you book your ticket for that yet?
I haven't done it. I should do that. Thanks for throwing me under the travel department bus. Washington and Utah, 3:30 FS1.
Not how it's going to be after you.
You're going to be in trouble. 2nd down, 10 from the 20. Record-setting night all around. Like every play, we're giving you a new one. Mahomes retreating and lofting it to the sideline. Did he get his feet in? He did. Batson. Spot him 3 yards short.
It's just crazy to me the transition that Batson and Jonathan Giles has made as former quarterbacks. I mean, I would imagine they have good hands and good feel for routes and timing and all that, but just their body control, that's something that you don't get a lot of practice of at a quarterback. And along the sidelines, they do a nice job of controlling their body to get their feet in bounds.
His 51st completion of the night is a 1st down to Giles. 51 completions, 2:26 to go.
They're still in a good position, too, with 3 timeouts. If they can get a score here, you would imagine that they'd try to do an onside kick. Maybe they would decide just to kick it and utilize the timeouts if they could stop Oklahoma.
Mahomes rolling. He's got room to run if he wants to. Capri Doucette drags him out of bounds. Yeah, the crowd seeing some extracurricular over there, but no flag with 2:04 left.
Looked like it might have been close to a horse collar.
Yeah.
Doucette put his arm on the, I guess, nameplate again and blacked it up. He got ripped off once and probably would have got ripped off there.
Inside of 2 minutes now. on second and goal with all 3 timeouts. Mahomes will look to throw again. Scanning the end zone. Incomplete. Lauderdale defended by Thomas. The field shrinking here, and it's 3rd down and goal.
Yeah, and this is the part where, unless they bring pressure, the way they're playing, they're doubling the inside guys, the inside wide receivers for Texas Tech. So it'd be a good time to try to run the football, even though that's not your strength. But you've seen Patrick Mahomes do it tonight, so he can easily be a part of that.
The 180th play of this game is a 3rd and goal from the 3. End zone, blown coverage, touchdown, Texas Tech still breathing. Cameron Batson brings them back to within a touchdown with 1:38.
We've heard this verbiage a couple times. There's Cameron Batson. He's going to kind of hesitate, and then he's really just going to lose everyone in coverage. They do a good job of is they end up kind of taking away the coverage by 2 guys going one way and Batson going the other. He's going to hold for the extra point.
And it's a 7-point game as Mahomes has tied the NCAA record for passing yards in a game now with 7:34. Back for an onside kick. Well, 3 timeouts, but there's no way they can kick it deep here.
No, I mean, their defense hasn't really been able to stop the Oklahoma offense here in the second half. So they've got to figure out some way of doing an onside kick. That's what they're lining up to do. Although it sounds like from at least what Bruce Feldman told us on the sidelines that, you know, Clayton Hatfield was looking at doing a middle onside kick, something where he actually kicks it right up the hash from where it is now and recovers it. Maybe he does some sort of variation.
Here we go. Onside kick Hatfield, and it skips its way right into the hands of Jarvis Baxter. Now, the fact that they have 3 timeouts means that that doesn't necessarily seal the deal.
Yeah, never got that big hop, really. That's what you're looking for out of any onside kick. It just stayed low to the ground. Oklahoma did a good job recovering it. Now with 3 timeouts and 1:37. You're going to have your defense step up, and they have not been able to stop Joe Mixon all night long. He's averaging 9 yards a carry. They're going to rely heavily on that offensive line and Mixon to be able to close out this game.
In a game that's seen 77 first downs, 1 more would end it. It's Mixon. And it will be 2nd down and 5. Here comes the first Texas Tech timeout.
Now, here's the predicament you're in. I mean, if you're Texas Tech, the way things have gone, every time you even put an extra body up around the line of scrimmage, there's been a crease or a seam, and Joe Mixon's taken it for a touchdown, a big run. Or they've given up a big play on the outside because they've been in one-on-one coverage and they haven't been able to cover down. So it's really hard to find a way of figuring out how you're going to win, how you're going to be able to stop Oklahoma at this point in time.
They've not stopped them since the 2nd quarter. And on a weird night in Lubbock, a bird almost just took Brady's head off flying into the booth. It's neither here nor there. 2nd and 5.
I think it's going to hang out for the rest of the game. See if Oklahoma can finish this one off.
The box loaded up. Mixon. Surging. 2 yards shy. 3rd and 2.
Something to keep in mind around these piles. The offensive line can push Mixon to help assist him in going forward, but they cannot pull him. Something the officials will be looking for is now in a 3rd and short scenario, and most assured that they're going to be handing the ball off once again to Joe Mixon as we take a look at all the records tonight. Seems like every game we've had this year, there's been some record broken.
Yeah. Yeah, Baker Mayfield to 7 touchdowns, breaking Landry Jones' record. Here's one we haven't told you yet. Joe Mixon, the 3rd FBS player in the last 20 seasons with those numbers in a single game. Pat Mahomes, 800 total yards, a record. The 734 passing yards matching a record. We also have team records with the two teams combining for now, let's see, more than 1,700 yards of offense. But how about Joe Mixon's day?
Yeah, it started off right at the beginning of the game. They utilized him in the passing game, and that really helped open some things up in the running game as well. And he's really put everything on display tonight. If you're an NFL scout or evaluator, you can't wait till this guy is going to have an opportunity to get to you at the next level. And he is a redshirt freshman, so technically he's 3 years removed from high school. And after the year he's had so far, he'll be coming back to Norman next year.
3rd down and 2. And they're ready to snap it directly to him. He waits for the blocks to develop and seals the deal with a 1st down to the 35. Texas Tech will use its final timeout, but Oklahoma can now run this clock out.
And what a night for Baker Mayfield. All the emotions coming back to the place where really it all started for him. Had a lot of success early on as a freshman. Some things didn't necessarily work out. He moved on to Oklahoma, found a new home, and has been sensational for the Sooners since he arrived on campus.
This is how teams take knees in 2016. And by the way, Texas Tech didn't use that final timeout, holding on to it. Hey, you want another record?
Sure.
What was it, Barry? 78 first downs in this game ties the NCAA record.
Oh, well, I mean,
you get a record. You get a record.
Everyone gets a record. But you're on pace for one of the longer games that finishes in regulation.
Yeah. Oklahoma is going to win its 4th in a row after that 1-2 start. This will be their 11th consecutive Big 12 win.
We just saw Lincoln Riley a moment ago. If you wonder why these young men, whether it's Cliff Kingsbury or Lincoln Riley, and Graham Harrell, who's now an offensive coordinator at North Texas, former quarterback at Texas Tech, these guys continue to keep moving on and getting head jobs because no one can stop these offenses. They just have defensive coordinators in a tizzy trying to figure out how to limit some of the production. Because as much as you want to say, well, Texas Tech's defense couldn't stop Oklahoma, Oklahoma's defense really couldn't stop Texas Tech either.
No. Both teams, and this is perfect, both teams finished with exactly 854 yards, setting an NCAA record with 1,708 yards combined.
I mean, just PlayStation stats. That's the sort of thing that you expect maybe when a game goes into overtime because of the rules and you get more touchdowns and extended game, extended playing time. But just ridiculous.
And there's so many guys you could take a look at and highlight on this night offensively, but Baker Mayfield spotless. 27 of 36, 545 yards, 7 touchdowns, and most importantly, no turnovers to allow Texas Tech to get over the hump.
Yeah, this is a high-octane offense. The way he's operating from the pocket has allowed them to play better, still spreading the football around, but utilize Joe Mixon in all sorts of different positions. But it's also helped them maintain drives because they haven't taken as many negative plays. You know, last year he'd scramble around and get off of his read or progression and cause himself problems. That's just not the case for Oklahoma and Baker Mayfield. And for Patrick Mahomes and Texas Tech, a valiant effort. Young man who really carried this team all year long as the defensive struggles continue for Texas Tech. They've still got a lot of growing up to do. A lot of young players out there getting some experience and will eventually make their way to be more effective, but it's going to take some time. And really, again, it's everyone dealing with this issue right now.
Let's go down to Bruce Feldman.